The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Get your home ready for winter. Schedule your furnace tune-up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and save $30. Visit standardheating.com to book and lock in your savings.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93
Here we go again. Coming at you live. Josh, what band?
Coming at you live?
Yeah.
My God. I know it. Don't tell me. I don't know it. Tesla.
What album?
It is Tesla.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
What album?
Edison. No, that's the Great Radio Controversy.
No. Mechanical Resonance. What year?
there you go.
What year?
1990.
86.
86.
We are coming at you live
86.
here on the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. We are. Only without anywhere near the intensity or the talent of the 1986 version of Tesla and their outstanding debut record, Mechanical Resonance. It's Tuesday morning. Thank you very much for listening. We hope to have a few laughs with you this morning. We need to begin today's programski by thanking a member of our listening audience. A listener sent us a gift. Not enough of our listeners send Josh and I gifts.
I don't think anyone needs to send us a gift. We appreciate you. You don't need to send us a darn thing.
You don't feel as if you and I deserve more gifts, free things from our listeners?
Not at all, no.
After everything we give, after everything we've been through?
No, I don't think so. I think it's our job to give people stuff to appreciate their time.
I'm going to agree to disagree on this one. But we've been sent a gift from a feller by the name of, by the handle of, I should say, Minnesota truck driving champion Jesus. Now, I opened my gift. I did. They're identical, Josh. They're identical.
I haven't seen what he sent yet.
Right. I've opened mine. I wanted maybe to experience you cracking open your gift. I think we should wear these. It's something you can wear on your bodies. I think we should wear these items for the first time next weekend when we're hanging around Wisconsin at, what do you call the joint again? Turtle Lake Casino. Why don't you open up a little gift box, a little...
Oh, wait, is he going to propose? This looks like a
kind of looks that way. Kind of looks that way.
1,000 times, yes.
Crack that sumbitch open. Thank you again, Minnesota truck driving champion Jesus.
This is so sweet. Oh, that's awesome.
He has sent us. What do I call this?
Is that a pendant?
Pendant.
Is that what you'd call it?
I think you're right. It has the number 25 on it. And the letters HAMS, which stand for Half-Ass Morning Show. On the back, it says, congratulations, Nick and Josh, on 25 years. We are still, it's not over yet. We are in the 25th year of this morning show.
Yep.
And, we celebrated it, a handful of months ago when we hit the official date. Hell, what a nice little gift we've received, and now I have no experience wearing necklaces.
I have a little bit, I do.
This is meant, if I'm not mistaken, to snap onto a necklace. We wear it around our necks. Everybody knows we're big shots.
If they see this?
Yeah.
I just like that we're going to have a matching, some sort of matching couture.
Cute, right?
That'd be nice.
It's going to be adorable.
Yep, I had a necklace I wore for a while. You might remember. It was very meaningful to me. It had some ashes of a loved one in there. It was a cross with ashes. And the chain broke once, and then I got nervous. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to keep this.
You didn't want to lose.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine losing it. So now I can bring it back. What a nice gift. And I'm trying to compare it to the gifts we got from our coworkers, Dana, Ashley, and Wapple.
Our presence is your present.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's a funny word for it.
You remember what they got us? It was a whole lot of nothing.
So I'm going to have to try this out. I got to go get myself a necklace, and I'll be displaying this when we go to Turtle Lake. What a thoughtful gift. We thank you very much. I wonder what I'm going to look like with a necklace on. I've never worn a necklace.
Oh, I bet you're going to look like John Travolta in 1977.
That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah.
He was pretty popular in 1977. I wonder if maybe the necklace is going to get caught up in my lush chest hair.
Oh, I got none.
Oh, mine
I'm
would.
safe.
All right, so thank you.
Yeah, what a nice gesture.
That's very cool.
25 miserable friggin' years.
Eastbound at sundown.
And all we got is a friggin' stupid necklace.
This is very sweet.
This thing sucks.
This thing is awesome.
I'm kidding. It's great. Sorry to interrupt you.
Eastbound at sundown, Jesus said, "Spy camera, guys. It's a spy camera. Do not undress with that on."
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Hey,
I thought of that. It's got
I
a
will
tracking device in it.
at least once. I will wear this completely in the nude to say thank you, Minnesota truck driving champion Jesus.
Yeah, it's very nice. Although I'm sticking by my original statement. I think our listeners should be sending us more gifts. What else is going on around here this morning? All right. First scary movie you ever watched in your life. First scary movie you ever watched. Go.
Oh, I have no clue, but I do remember like the first one that messed me up. It was The Grudge.
Oh.
Never saw it.
I just realized how young you are.
Yeah.
The Grudge. Explain that one to me.
So that's the one with the girl that is, they can come through the.
Fair enough.
TV.
Sounds scary.
Oh, wait. No, okay. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't getting The Ring and The Grudge confused. So The Grudge it's set in there's like a creepy house somewhere in Japan, and there's there's two people that are the scariest. There's like a woman or a little girl with black hair, and she always puts it like in front of her face.
Oh,
I'm
no.
sure you've seen that because that's really popular.
All
yeah.
right, The Grudge. It's a tough question. First, at least I think it's, some of us have better memories than others. First scary movie you ever watched, Josh? You have any idea?
I don't remember. I've told you before the first movie that ever traumatized me, and that was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh, sure.
And I saw it.
adorable.
I saw it at a friend's house, and was it third or fourth grade, and I didn't have and I loved sleepovers as a little kid. I could get away from the house, and there's so many people in the house, and people had name brand foods and color TV, and I thought that was awesome. But it ruined sleepovers until about 8th grade for me. I couldn't do it anymore.
How old were you when you saw the temple?
It was 3rd or 4th grade. Let's see.
All right. But that's not meant to be a scary movie. That's
not at all.
An adventure film or whatever the term might be, a sci-fi.
So it was 4th grade.
Okay.
When he ripped the dude's heart out, I was not ready for that.
That'll stick with you.
I'd never seen anything like it. And now it's so prolific. Even you watch like regular TV, and it's we mentioned before the show Hannibal on NBC. I can't believe that aired on NBC with how violent it was.
I remember you
Even
talking
Randy,
about
too.
Randy was enraged.
Who the hell? Who's Randy?
Randy Shaver. He was furious that it was on the same network he worked for.
Oh, right, because it was so graphic and violent. Anybody else? First scary movie? Maybe it's not fair to ask you the first scary movie you ever saw. The first scary movie that really grabbed you and scared the piss out of you.
The first one that I remember was Gremlins. And I went into it watching because I didn't know what it was. I was watching, look at this cute little gizmo animal. This is fun. This is nice. And then it escalated, obviously, and I was terrified by the end of it.
I think mine had to have been Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
Either
Pinhead?
Hellraiser
Yeah.
or the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Good
fun.
movie, though.
Like from the 70s,
Yeah,
right?
you see that one at a young age. You won't forget it.
Every minute of that, I love it. I love the original Texas by damn Chainsaw. For me personally, a couple come to mind. Scary movies. Well, at least they meant to be. The Shining. And I still love every second of that movie. The Shining. That's got to be it. That's got to be the first one. I had a thought and I lost it.
I think Aliens was probably the first meant-to-be scary movie I watched.
All right. When I was fairly young, there was a series on television. We just talked about it recently because it's still going. What was it again, Josh? Salem's Lot.
Oh, yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's still cooking in one way or another, but I remember as a fairly young kid, Salem's Lot was on television, and I didn't watch thoroughly, but there were a few scenes that I remember walking by the television and thinking, oh, Christ, thank God I'm not. Anyway, The Shining probably is my answer. The reason I bring it up, it says here more than 2/3 of Americans start watching scary movies as a kid, and I think the basis of the conversation is how young we were when we sat down to watch these scary programs, which weren't meant for kids our age.
Probably too young because, like I was saying, there's like 2 or 3 movies that like still like influence my life till this day.
How did you watch it? I mean, meaning, did your parents show it to you? Was it a slumber party of some sort?
2 of them I was just watching with my parent, and then specifically The Grudge, I decided to watch it by myself, and I think that's where I messed up in that situation.
So the question is there a right age to start watching scary movies? 2,000 Americans were asked about this. 65% of them, so over half, said that they saw their first scary movie before they were 11 years old. Oh, for Christ's sake, yes, I was far younger than 11 years old.
Definitely.
They mentioned slumber parties. 60% of folks watched their first scary movie at a slumber party. Now, if we're talking about slumber parties, or, I mean, I never really used that term, you know. Sleepover, whatever. That makes me think of The Evil Dead. So, of course, when I was a young kid, there was The Shining, like I mentioned. There's some others that I can't remember now. But around 1981, so I was a 10-year-old kid, I went over to my buddy Big Phil's place. It was lawless at Big Phil's. I've told you before what happened. We kids ruled the household at Big Phil's, and I could not friggin' wait to go over there on the weekends. I spent a lot of weekends there because we could do whatever the hell we wanted. So I remember going over to Big Phil's, and we watched the original Evil Dead. And you watch it now, it's a friggin', it's ridiculous. There's nothing scary about it. It's silly. But when I watched it as a 10-year-old, it almost made me puke. Because it was so, at least for its time, so graphic. So that one will always come to mind for me.
Faces of Death was when I remember being pretty disturbed by watching Faces of Death. I can blame my cousin for that one.
Now, how old were you when you got... I just became drunk. How old were you when you got a hold of Faces of Death? Because, we went through all of those, too, as, junior high kids, I would imagine.
Yeah, I was going to say 12 or 13. First time I watched Faces of Death.
What would you, consider Hostel? Would you consider it a horror movie or, a slasher?
Oh, I don't know the difference between the two terms,
I've never
really.
seen it. I've heard it's disturbing. I don't like the disturbing.
Yeah, it's just torture porn.
I think you're nitpicking too much there, Wapple. I think you just call it a scary movie.
Yeah, God, that one freaked me out.
Yep.
Oh,
hey, dude.
Oh, the Achilles scene. Oh!
Yeah, dude.
That's what I had heard.
So much. Oh.
That's the one everyone talks about.
I like that one.
I don't know why. There's certain things that are super cringy, and definitely that's one that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I like that one a lot.
Achilles.
I like that one a lot too, Wapple. But of course, the Achilles scene is, you feel it when you watch it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But I really like that sumbitch. And you know what crossed my mind when I watched that movie? Is how many times I was just obliterated drunk on vacation.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, this could have happened to me. Ridiculous maybe to think that, but I just thought when I was in my 20s, whenever I'd go out of town, I'd get as drunk as humanly possible. And then I was usually the guy that, at 11 o'clock at night when everyone else is still partying, well, I'm going to walk back to the hotel room. You know what I mean?
Great.
And I would I'd walk back to the hotel by myself.
You're in an alleyway.
Yeah, why didn't someone put me in a van and cut my Achilles? They could have.
But that's the worst part about, horror movies is something that could actually happen.
It's relatable.
Yeah.
When something relatable happens, hey, I have a cabin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can't sleep for a month.
Yeah.
It can only be Jared Jesus said what Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom did to me. He said RoboCop did to him.
RoboCop messed me up too as a kid.
Me too. That changed me.
Yeah.
When the scene that makes him eventually become RoboCop, when they just keep kicking his ass and shooting him and stuff, that I remember being horrified with that.
Oh, Cujo. A listener's first scary movie was Cujo.
I haven't seen that one.
Me
Is that
either.
any good?
Again, it was 1982.
It's a mean dog.
So you're going to have to,
That's the thing. You watch those as an adult now, and with how they've advanced in special effects and stuff, you watch it and you go, how was I ever scared of this movie? It's silly.
I like Cujo because of its simplicity. There's two people in a car. The car won't start. Outside the car is a killer dog. Doesn't get much more simple than that, right? Maybe because I'm not the brightest guy in the world, I like a simple friggin' plot. And so I enjoy Cujo.
What about Maximum Overdrive?
Totally stupid.
Yeah, it was dumb, but I
But
liked
enjoyable
the premise.
as hell.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Well,
Enjoyable.
maybe that's a strong statement there. I enjoyed it, I guess.
Speaking of dogs, Pet Sematary messed me up when I was a kid too.
Yeah, silly, though, if you watched it
look,
now.
watching it now, it's silly,
Oh.
especially the second one with Edward Furlong from Terminator 2 in it.
I didn't see this. Thank you very much. The texts are rolling in quickly on the first scary movie you ever watched. Where is this one? This guy. Sorry, I can't thank you, but somebody, because the texts are rolling by too fast, somebody brought up, I was racking my brain for some of these other scary movies that I might have watched as a real young kid outside of The Shining, outside of Salem's Lot. Amityville Horror. That was one of the first also for me. That came out in, 77, 78. The Amityville Horror with Margot Kidder, for Christ's sake, as the wife. And there's that Brolin character now. What's his name?
The dad is Jim?
James.
James, yeah.
Yeah, the guy who's a big star now is Josh Brolin,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. His dad, James Brolin, was the lead male character in that. Oh, the Amityville Horror. Absolutely. There's a scene from that movie that troubled me. And do you guys remember the original Amityville from the 70s?
I've only
Never
seen
saw
the
it.
Ryan Reynolds version.
Oh, God. That's just dumb as balls. But the original, they bring some exorcist lady, or what do you call them, some spiritualist lady to the house to find out if it's really possessed by the dead. And she goes down into the basement, and the dog is digging at a wall in the basement and crying. The dog is digging at this wall, and they're all like, the James Brolin character is always, the dog's name is Dino or whatever. Dino, get the hell away from the wall. Well, when the spiritualist lady gets down in the basement and the dog is digging at the wall, she takes an interest in it, and eventually they break open the wall, and all it is like this blood red kind of background is what they find behind the wall. And the spiritualist lady says, "It's a doorway to hell." And when I was a kid, I went, "Ah!" I still remember the first time I saw that scene. I said, "No, please don't scream out that it's a doorway to hell. Anything but that." And then she said it, and I ran out of the room.
Ninja Turtle Nutcase Jesus said he remembers watching Predator when he was in 6th grade. He was so tense, at one point he moved his hand and realized that he had dug his fingernail into his knee so hard it broke the skin.
Oh, wow.
Jiminy
I remember that
Christmas.
movie freaking me out a little
Yeah,
bit, too.
same here.
And I absolutely love it. I think for that reason, just kind of the fun of being scared. And that's my wife's favorite movie, Predator. And I love that, too.
Another Arnold movie.
Your wife's favorite movie is Predator.
Yeah,
That's
what's
awesome.
wrong with that? That's an all-timer.
I don't know. I think I'm not a big fan of Predator. Anyway, what were you saying? Arnold something?
Oh, another Arnold movie that's, not necessarily meant to be scary, but I saw it in, I think, 1st or 2nd grade. It was Terminator 2. And there's a scene towards the end where it's like a dream sequence where an atomic bomb goes off at a playground. And I was convinced for the rest of my life that I needed to be worried of atomic bombs blowing me up at any given moment. At that point.
We were trained for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys
I missed that boat, but but after seeing that movie, I was convinced at any given moment an atomic bomb was going to hit Eagan, Minnesota.
Oh, we were like, okay, the Russians are going to get us any second. This is what you do if there's an atomic bomb. Just cover your head and go under your desk, and you'll be safe.
That'll keep you nice and safe. Absolutely.
It's interesting to hear different people's answers, from different generations. Some people are texting and saying my first scary movie was, The Conjuring from 10 years ago, and some are going, younger people. Some are going way back. And I appreciate some of the older folks, because I'm one of the older folks, reminding me of some of these other movies from the 70s, or even the 60s, like The Omen.
Oh, yeah.
Rosemary's Baby. Things like that.
Did you guys ever watch...
Some of that stuff was... Carrie. That's a great... Carrie, absolutely. Yes, what was the question?
Did you ever watch the movie Signs?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Alien? That really screwed me up for a while.
It's just
scene,
tense.
Yeah, the scene where he's using they're using a butcher knife to look under the bedroom door to look for the alien. That's permanently in my memory.
That's a good one. I mean, Mel Gibson and what's his name?
Joaquin
Dion Phoenix did their best to ruin it with their bad acting, but that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's just stressful the whole time you're on edge.
It
Traveling
is.
Jesus says kind of the same about The Strangers. That was his first horror movie.
Did you guys see the new one yet?
No.
It's really good. I watched it yesterday.
I like The Strangers. I specifically like how it ends.
Does it have kind of the same vibe where you're on the edge of your seat the whole time?
Yep, same exact vibe.
Is it ooky and spooky?
I would say pretty ooky and spooky.
Some folks were afraid of the flying monkeys in The Wizard of Oz. It depends. Also,
I was when I was very little, sure.
Yeah, it's also interesting to hear, what scares this person and what, if that same scene to another person was total garbage.
I was scared of the aliens in Spice World.
That's right.
I never saw that.
Dude,
the Spice Girls movie
freaked me out, man. I was a little wobble then. Ooh.
I wish I would have been in that movie. Spice World?
Yep.
Yeah.
With the Spice Girls. I wish I would have been in that movie.
Yeah, I was probably 5 when that came out. Ooh, those aliens.
I was asking a buddy yesterday. I sent him an article on a bunch of Halloween stuff, right? That you could go do different haunted houses and things like that. Said, hey, are you guys interested, he and his wife, in going to any of these? And he had mentioned his wife is afraid of everything. So I guess she's not. I mean, he made it was a couple examples, like just movies that you wouldn't think would be scary, she gets scared by. So I will not be doing that with them, but it's interesting how the wide range of what scares people. I got a friend who will never go to a haunted house. He had a bad experience when he was a kid, and by bad experience, I mean it scared the hell out of him and stuck with him to this day.
Wow.
Yeah, I really don't like them.
Oh, I love them.
I like them too. I'll pretend I'm not a little creeped out or scared, but I'm creeped out or scared.
I'm not trying to be a deck here, but I don't see any entertainment in that type of a setup at all.
I like being terrified like that.
But you get terrified walking through a haunted house when you know it's just a bunch of college kids wearing grease paint and rubber masks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm afraid of clowns, so that's pretty much if there's any carnival music or any hint towards a clown, that's all it needs to happen for me to be scared.
Christ. Josh, okay. What was that remake where they're out in the desert and there was nuclear testing?
Hills Have Eyes.
I
Thank you.
haven't
That's a
seen that
great
either.
movie.
Is it really?
That's a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's difficult for me to enjoy horror movies as a grown person. I have found very few of them to be even tense, to even bring about a tense feeling in me. It's just how I'm wired. So many of them, they're just silly. But if I could think of 4 in the last 20 or so years that I'm not saying I was, scared, but at least it brought something out of me. We mentioned Hostel. The remake of The Hills Have Eyes from, 15 years, someone could look it up.
2006, it looks like.
They did whoever they were, did an awesome job with that movie. Mm-hmm. Some scenes are friggin' horrible, but that's what I'm looking for, you know what I mean? I'm looking to be disturbed a little bit when I watch. Another would be the remake of The Last House on the Left from a number of years ago.
Oh, that was just brutal.
The ending of that movie made me feel so good inside. And what was that?
Is that the one in the woods? There's
Yeah.
I turned it.
Yeah.
I yelled at the screen at that. I remember being furious at that scene.
Yep, I same here, Josh.
Those are the 4. I think I named 4.
What was the one something games?
Sorry, Wapple. And I did not mention 4, but the 4th we already mentioned. The Strangers. That actually made me feel tense. It got a reaction out of me. Go
It was
ahead.
a little jumpy.
You talking about funny games?
Yeah.
Oh, funny. You see, I didn't add that in because I don't consider that a horror movie like the rest that I was to.
Is it funny?
Funny games? Dude, you haven't seen it?
No.
It'll F you up.
Is it like disturbing?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Disturbing.
The disturbing ones I'm not into.
Oh.
Backyard Haircut Jesus said the librarian from Ghostbusters scared the bejesus out of him as a kid. Not full-blown horror, but somewhere in the spookdrum, he said.
That was a good jump scare.
That got me. Also, Large Marge.
Oh, man, yes.
When the truck driver, when her face... Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm going to a different movie. From Pee-wee's...
Big Adventure.
Big Adventure.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Remember when Large Marge was telling the story about on a night just like this? And
I
then
don't
she
remember.
Made her eyes pop out and all that
I know
stuff?
the character name, but I haven't seen Pee-wee's Big Damn Adventure.
I jumped at that scene. But yeah, that librarian, that scared the hell out of me too as a little kid.
She looked straight at the Ghostbusters and...
Shh.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you bastards.
Only Poops While Punched In Jesus was absolutely furious at the ending of The Mist. I liked that movie.
Absolutely. You guys know that I love a dark, terrible ending.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's why I loved The Strangers. That's why I loved The Mist. Because I didn't see it coming
Me neither.
at all.
Nope, me neither.
Hell yeah, that's how you end a movie. That's
Yeah.
That's how you should end a scary movie. People should walk out of the theater going, "Oh, for Christ's sake, that was terrible. Oh, I feel awful." Happy endings. Anyone can write a happy ending. Nice. You just feel sick to your stomach when it's over.
Orton Lover, Jesus, and I have been texting back and forth since they started their 31 Nights of Horror movies. And so they're going to watch one every night in October.
Oh.
And she said she fell asleep, but last night they watched Tremors. And her husband said it was pretty good. Not scary.
I love Trevor's.
6 out of 10 is a horror movie, 8 out of 10 for the movie itself. Now, that's the
fun.
one with Kevin Bacon?
Kevin Bacon.
Yep.
F you.
I haven't seen that either.
When he kills
It's
it.
a lot of fun. Tremors is a lot of fun. Kevin Bacon, and I can't think of the other actor's name, but he played Gus Grissom in The Right Stuff. I can't think of his name, but he's
Fred Ward?
Fred Ward, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, folks are texting in on the woods scene from Last House on the Left. I'm mad at that movie. I'm mad at whoever came up with that everything about that scene was awful.
Oh, made me want to vomit.
Me too. Just one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Oh, my God.
Terrible.
Scary movies. My opinion, they don't make them like they used to, but that's why it's still fun to go back to some of the old ones.
Yeah, like the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween. Did not like it. It was just so much death.
Yeah.
It's like, how?
I couldn't stand that movie.
It's like 10 minutes, 200 people die.
It's ridiculous, actually. Yeah, you're right, Wapple.
I was very disappointed in that movie.
Yeah. Like I said, they don't make them like they used to. You don't have to have 300 dead bodies after the first 20 minutes of the movie. just write a good movie.
The original Toolmaker Jesus said the first scary movie he watched was a video he found of his parents at Swingstock with a dildo mounted on a sawzall.
Oh, no.
That would traumatize me as a
Is he
kid.
telling a
At
true
any
story?
age.
If he's telling a true story, I got to ask him some questions because I knew some of the folks who hung out at Swingstock. It's the most fascinating text we've received around here in a long time. Dildo on a sawzall.
Oh, this is a good one. This person says, I'm surprised nobody's mentioned Human Centipede. That movie is straight from the depths of hell.
Yeah.
I don't know
skipped
anyone that's
that one.
actually seen that movie.
That's nauseating.
I was disturbed enough to watch Human Sentai Pad, the parody on South Park. You got to read the full terms and conditions on iTunes.
Should I eat the cuttlefish?
I'm sorry, Eddie.
Human Sentai Pad was tough to watch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I read every document in front of me now. I don't want that ever to happen to me.
We got to get going again. You're a great crowd. Again, thanks to, I threw away the name, the guy who sent us some gifts this
Minnesota
morning.
truck driving champion Jesus.
You're the best. More gifts from the listeners to Josh and Nick, if I could just make one request. We'll be back in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our technicians are geared up and ready to make sure your system is running reliably this winter. Regular maintenance from Standard Heating and Air Conditioning helps prevent costlier breakdowns in the future, and we know they always happen at the worst time.
Hey, Ashley here. Get your home ready for winter. Schedule your furnace tune-up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and save $30. Have a boiler? Save $40 on your boiler tune-up. Visit standardheating.com to book and lock in your savings. Stay cozy, stay ready.
Named one of the best personal finance podcasts, The Stacking Benjamin Show with Joe and his friends makes financial literacy fun.
I thought I can just keep spending money, however, do this back of the envelope math if I just cover it by making more money. The three words that make me groan the loudest that broke people say is, I deserve it. I was saying it all the time. Well, I deserve a night out. I don't have any money, but I'll take my last dollars and do a night at a restaurant.
Find out more by searching the Stacking Benjamins podcast, wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
What a hell of a crowd we got out there. Appreciate you tuning us in. Stupid news coming up here in a minute. First, earlier on this morning, we were talking about the first scary movie that really grabbed us and how old we were when we saw it. The article, the general vibe was that a lot of us watched some of these supposedly really scary movies when we were way too young to be seeing such things. I was okay with that. I was lucky. My folks didn't give two pumps what we watched on television at all. So I saw a lot of this stuff when I was very young. I do remember when The Shining was on. I remember being quite a little kid, 9 maybe, and my mother saying, I don't know if you want to see this. That was as far as she went with parenting on programming.
That's funny how different
Yeah.
it was for us. I was so sheltered. I mean, as you know, you give me crap because, maybe not give me crap, but you bring up, my parents wouldn't let me watch the A-Team because they said it was too violent.
It's still my favorite of all time.
It was basically a cartoon show,
Yeah.
the A-Team.
And I don't think anyone was ever actually hit by any bullet or anything like that.
No
Yeah,
one was ever killed.
They would not let me watch that.
So we were discussing the first scary movie, supposedly scary movie that we ever watched and how old we were. Some text messages have come in on some movies that our listeners experienced. Scary movies that our listeners experienced for the very first time. Maybe ones that we didn't bring up in our conversation from a few minutes ago. I don't know if we mentioned The Exorcist, but that's an obvious answer for
I think
a
that
lot
came
of
up
us.
a couple times, yeah.
That's one I forgot to mention because that's big time from my wheelhouse. I was very young when I saw The Exorcist, and I still effing love that movie.
My dad said that he took a lady on a first date to The Exorcist when it first came out.
Wasn't he already married to your mom?
No, not then.
Oh, that's good.
Some of you named, in my opinion, not that I'm wildly passionate about this kind of thing, but I think there's a difference between a scary movie and just these out-of-control gore fest type movies. I am drawn to scary movies, but there's an endless amount of zombie movies where they're just designed to make you sick, right? Mm-hmm. They go for a record number of gallons of stage blood just because they can. I think there's a difference there, just for the record. Now, someone brought up the old movie, I think it was called Don't Answer the Phone, he'll know you're alone. And if we're going back to movies that affected us when we were little kids, if I have the right title, I'll always remember that one. That's the one where the babysitter is in a house. It's from the mid-'70s. Babysitter's in the house. There are 2 children upstairs that she's babysitting, and they just remain in the bedroom, or I guess it doesn't matter. But the phone keeps ringing, and all she hears on the other end of the line every time she picks up the phone is a voice says, "Have you checked on the children?" And she hangs up. This goes on forever and ever. She gets the police involved, and the police say, "Well, we'll trace the call and we'll get back to you." This is the entire movie of the phone ringing. "Have you checked the children?" "Shut up, stop bothering me," right? At the end of the movie, the phone rings, she picks it up, and it's the police officer who visited her earlier in the evening, and he simply says, "The call is coming from inside the house." I remember seeing that as about a 5-year-old kid, and I thought, F me running, I'm never answering the phone.
Those are the freaky ones, right? Like kind of like you said, Dana, where it's so close to something that could happen in real life.
Mm-hmm. And the suspended animation as the young lady receives that information and then tries to get upstairs to get the children and get them out of the house. But then I think the dude comes out of the bedroom where the children, the call is coming from inside the house, he said.
Bank teller Shiza said she watched Pumpkinhead when she was like 7 and was terrified.
Never saw it.
I haven't either. It sounds silly, but I want to watch that.
It does.
My dad always made me watch horror movies, she said, every Friday night when she was a kid.
We never mentioned The Thing, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. Absolutely. Lights out. Still works today after all these years. The Thing is, I'm going to go ahead and call The Thing the perfect scary movie in every way. In every way. You can't top it. Some more recent movies people mention that we didn't get around to talking about. I said that modern scary movies do very little for me. But The Descent.
Yeah, a few people. That's the one where all the chicks go spelunking or something. I haven't seen that either.
Well done. Well done. It'll make you tense. It'll do things to you. Absolutely. Going back to the old days, of course, The Night of the Living Dead still works for me. Love that old movie. What, 1968 maybe? Night of the Living Dead.
Nine Fingers, Nine Toes, Jesus said The Fly with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
That one got me.
And hilariously enough, one listener texted in and said when they were a kid, they watched Michael Jackson's music video for the song Thriller, and it terrified them.
Me too.
I do remember being scared by that, too.
Someone says here, has Candyman been shouted yet? I don't think Candyman was brought up. Now that I think about it, Candyman was definitely not brought up.
No. When Mike turned
I
into
said it 3 times.
I thought it was only 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know the gimmick.
I thought for sure Dana and Ashley would
when you
do
say
that.
it 3 times, he appears?
He does, yeah.
Yep.
Like Bloody Mary?
Yep.
I
Or
gotta
Biggie
say,
Smalls.
the thing about Candyman is he was kind of a cool cat.
Yeah, well, isn't that
I
how
wanna hang out
he got the women? Because his allure? He would lure them in?
Well, I'll be honest, I barely remember the movie.
I think that's how he got them.
Well, he's a big, handsome guy.
Yeah,
I've never seen the
And then he has a hook.
original. But they did make they remade it not too long ago, and the remake was something, I guess.
So, Cubby,
It was a movie.
When Michael Jackson morphed into the werewolf, you were very afraid?
Yeah.
In the video Thriller?
Yeah, I mean, I was more scared than his cheerleader girlfriend who was sitting right next to him.
And then later on, he becomes a zombie. Sure, and they danced their asses off in that. When I was in prison, we all learned how to do the Thriller dance. Did you guys ever see the video of me and my fellow?
Wasn't that like a South Korean prison or something?
Yeah, I was in a South Korean prison many years ago, and part of our punishment, we had to learn the Thriller dance in its entirety. I thought we did well.
Oh, you guys nailed it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it went viral for
Thanks.
sure.
If you bring up the video, I'll point out which kind of an overhead shot, but I'll point out which one is me.
Deal.
Yeah. All right, on to the stupid news. We're going to have some fun, I hope, with this here. For cripe's sake. Fellas in our listening audience, dudes, we tell you over and over again. Josh, don't we? And nobody listens. Well, very few of you. It's disrespectful. We tell you over and over again. Erase your internet history.
Yep.
You know, some people will have like a DNR tattooed on their chest for do not resuscitate, right? We have erase our internet history tattooed on our chest.
And if you don't know how, have a wingman show you how. That kind of information just laying around can ruin lives. Even after you're dead. Dead and gone, by God. Here's a little something about a Canadian lady. Her husband checked Smooth out a few years ago. He did. After the poor bastard died, she found out by looking through a pimp's computer that he had more side action than most mere mortal men could handle. He had a side piece over here, Josh. He had a side piece over there. He had high-dollar escorts from one end of town to the other. The dude was living what people call these days his best life.
I don't think I couldn't juggle multiple relationships.
When you were younger, you could have.
Even when I was younger, I found when it was completely legit, it was all out in the open. There was no real commitment. Even that was difficult for me.
Oh,
I've never been good or comfortable in a situation like that.
Trust me, it was a lot of work, and it was physically spending, but I had the time of my life. The time of my life.
How often did you get confused as to what you did with whom? I don't mean sexually.
I don't remember ever having that moment. I kept it together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My wife can still do it. It's just something I've never been able to do.
Do what?
Juggle relationships.
Oh, she's sharp. So, dude dies. His wife goes through his computer. She said she was looking through his computer. Well, I'll tell you in a minute. And she finds out he's got a girlfriend in every town, and he even likes to dangle with these high-dollar prostitutes. Now, of course, his wife wasn't too pumped to find all of this out. Matter of fact, she went ahead and wrote a book about it. And in the book, she talks about how she dealt with finding out her husband was slinging rod like a damn NBA All-Star. And I'll tell you right the F now, she dealt with it in a way that I didn't expect. She took her dead husband's ashes, and then she ate it!
Whoa. Ew.
Yuck.
Wonder what that does to the stomach.
Her name is Jessica Waite. I never had a chance to love you. That's her entire name.
Is it really?
Yes. Her name is Jessica Waite. Her husband went by the name of Sean. He's been gone since the year of 20 plus 15. Her book has a catchy title. It's called A Widow's Guide to Dead Bastards.
I like it.
It's catchy.
She talks about how she opened her husband's iPad. Okay, this is the part I was saving. She claimed she was looking through his iPad for the number to the hospital that was holding his carcass after he died.
She just accidentally moseyed on over to the search history.
Couldn't Google that on her own phone?
Oh, that's great.
You see what I'm saying? She says she was just looking up, okay, what was the name of the hospital that's holding my husband's dead carcass again? I got to look that up. So
I would never look that up. Not the hospital, but my wife's browser history. If she alive or dead, I wouldn't look it up.
Really?
I wouldn't think I'd find anything in the first place, but why would I want to, even if I did, I wouldn't want to tarnish
what am I?
Anything.
Absolutely.
I know your wife fairly well. There's likely nothing there to find except...
but even if there was, what's the point if she's already passed?
Yeah, and you wouldn't even be able to talk to her about it, so it's just you with that hanging above your head the rest of your life.
And I don't want to eat anybody's ashes. What if that's the way I go, too? Gross.
Gal claims she was just looking around for a phone number and discovered her dead husband's browsing history. She found escorts and their prices and their locations, days and days worth of hardcore porno movies, the names and numbers of hot mamas that he was folding on the side. She found out he'd been renting an apartment on his own where he would smash gear with these different gals. She had a terrible time coming to grips with all of this, learning what this peckerhead husband of hers was doing when she wasn't looking, and she went a little nuts. She did, and that led to her eating her dead husband's ashes.
Yeah, that's something, actually, I'm glad it would never enter my mind. You know, that I'd want to have a little ashed potatoes or something later on with my deceased spouse's remains.
Corned beef and ash.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd want to do
Some ash
something
browns.
worse with them.
I'm sorry,
Worse?
I'd want to do something worse with them. I don't think, like, eating them, that's, like, hurting you at the same time.
You
I'd
wanna
rather
poof
just,
them?
like, I don't know, toss them in a trash can or something.
Well, okay,
Something
Ashley.
more
Well, then,
symbolic.
listen to this. There's something very symbolic here in this story. Yes, the woman ate some of her husband's ashes, but also, at least I think this is symbolic. I'm not a deep thinker like this, but she took some of the ashes, brought them out into her yard, and mixed them in with the dog turds that were out in the yard. So my guess is that was symbolic of what she thought of her husband, like, you're nothing but dog shh, so I'll mix you in with the dog shh.
Nice, I like that one.
I mean, she's pooping them out, right? I mean, that's pretty disrespectful to poop out a loved one.
Yeah, that is
Good
true.
point.
You could just pee on the ashes.
You could. Here's a direct quote from the gal. Again, she wrote a book, which is called A Widow's Guide to Dead Bastards. Her husband died, and then she found out after death that he was banging everything in town. Here is a direct quote from the gal on the experience of eating her husband's ashes. She said, "The remains feel dry against my fingertips, coarser than baking powder, grainier than salt. They mix with my tears, a mineral mud on the back of my tongue. I swallow."
Really?
Wow.
Deep.
So, you want to tell all your friends what a scumbag he was, and then you say how you reacted. Nobody remembers what a scumbag he was. You're the lady that ate ashes.
It's a very good point. No one's thinking, boy, that Sean was a cheating prick. They're thinking, Jessica needs to talk to a professional. They forget all about the side pieces. That's an incredible point you just made there.
I mean, he's no longer the bad guy.
No. All right. She admits she was, quote, detached from reality there for a stretch of time.
No.
Today, she has a new man in her life. Oh, I bet that sumbitch needs to tread carefully. Don't you think?
You know, all right. That's the guy I'm worried about now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of all the people, you keep going, oh, man, that guy, he was a shady guy. Okay, now I'm worried about her. Now I'm worried about this particular guy might be the worst of them all as far as having some mental problems.
Dude.
You can do better, bro.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're dating a woman.
You deserve more.
Dude, you're dating a woman who was understandably upset. Don't get me wrong. And she found out that her husband was cheating on her quite prolifically. But you're dating a woman who ate the remains of her dead cheating husband. Can you imagine when this guy wants to go out and have a couple of beers with his bros?
Oh, no.
Honey, I'm going to go out to the bar and grill and watch the ball game. You son of a bitch! You're going to cheat on me! I'm going to go grab a couple of beers and watch the ball game.
Yeah. Damaged goods. Swamp Stomping Jesus said, maybe if she swallowed before he died, he wouldn't have cheated.
I'll be damned. You can't say that.
And I mentioned if you want to show some disrespect, pee on the guy's ashes. Hammer Swinging Jesus said, by the sounds of that guy's history, he might have been pretty okay with being peed on in the afterlife.
And again, back to another great point that Josh brought up is how people do it. They don't break things up. They back to the point Josh made about this new boyfriend and how he's worried about that guy. And we all are. for good reason. I can't imagine what day-to-day life is like for that guy. I bet he has to tiptoe. When he has to get up in the middle of the night to take a piss, I bet he has to tiptoe so she doesn't lash out at him. One more quote from this lady about eating her dead husband's ashes. Well, not specifically about that, but just her general overall feeling now after eating his ashes. I feel better and stronger than before. But I still cry almost every day, and I still feel like a part of me has died.
Yeah, I would probably feel the same way. That's awful to find that out.
Yeah.
I wonder if she thought, I'm going to, take away or gain his power. Sometimes you hear warriors would consume the flesh of their enemy to gain their power or whatever. I'm trying to think of
I know what you mean. Yeah, I've heard
whose flesh
stories.
I would eat. Like what power I'd want.
Flesh you would eat to gain their power.
Yeah, if there's a particular power they have, like whose power would I want?
Well, let's think about that. I think you got to go with I can't come up with anyone. I'm sorry, Josh, but I can't stop thinking about everyday life for that new boyfriend. I can't stop thinking about that. Imagine the guy, he just squeezes out a fart in the next room, right? What was that? You know what I mean? I bet he can't even break wind in his own home without being screamed at because this woman is still trying to get over.
Some people like that, though, right? The element of danger in the relationship, or they need to be on edge like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're young, that's fun.
How soon did
I've
she
never
tell
thought
him,
that was
too?
fun.
No, there's nothing fun about feeling fear in a relationship. You enjoyed feeling a slight amount of fear in your relationship, Dana?
Yeah, something when you're young, in your 20s, got to lean into the crazy a little bit. It's fun.
It was. Hey, I think I know where you're going with this. You need to be more clear. Now, are you talking about one night of fear, which also brought about great sexual pleasure?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm leaning.
Okay,
Not necessarily a relationship.
Yeah, that's where I thought you were going with it, and I wanted you to be more clear. Well, then I'm on board.
Yeah, okay.
I have had many nights with women where I thought, if I do the wrong thing, she's probably going to slit my throat. And there was some element of excitement there.
In college, there was a girl that I had a brief month-long stint with, and her Spanish was her first language. And when she would get drunk, and she was drunk often, she would yell at me in Spanish, and it was kind of sexy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. I've never been yelled at in a different language.
You should try it.
I'd like that. Will you learn a language and just tear me a new one?
I'm still kind of proficient in sign language. What if I just angrily signed you?
Nah, because anybody could give me the finger.
Yeah, that's a good
and
point.
And my wife she's a translator,
Oh,
right?
yeah, she's
fluent
yeah.
in ASL, so she could do that at any time.
All right, I'll learn Dutch and come screaming at you tomorrow.
I think that would just be adorable. I need a more angry language.
Yeah, maybe Russian.
Not a priest, Jesus said, I had it all wrong. You eat your enemies' hearts to gain their power.
Yep.
Their brains for knowledge, and then flesh, that's just jerky. That's like a treat.
You watch a lot of anime, anybody?
No,
Never. Just not my cup of tea.
I have one of my best buddies loves it. He watches all kinds of it.
It's like if you're not into it, you're not into it at all. But if you're into it, it's like you are very much an anime lover.
I would agree with that based on the people I know who watch it. He's very into it, like you said.
All or nothing.
I think I know what anime is. I've seen a disturbing porn clip or two. That's as far as I can go on the subject of anime. I know we've had these conversations before. I can never remember exactly what it is, but it doesn't matter. If you know what it is, then we can continue on. Here's the damn deal. A Japanese lady was able to stop a violent shoplifter with a move she learned from watching anime. She's a 23-year-old lady. Karin Ryo is the name she goes by. She saw a convenience store robbery happening. Instead of just standing by and watching the shoplifter prick shoplift, she dumped a deadly choke move on the bastard. The derelict shoplifter was trying to snatch a 6-pack of beer, and the puke bag started fighting with the store clerk. Now, Karen, who was never trained as a fighter of any kind, I'll tell you what, I'd like to wrestle her. She's never trained as a fighter of any kind. She grabbed the bastard's leg and brought him down to the floor, and then she wrapped him up in the anime sleeper hold.
That's badass.
I like anime, she said afterwards, so I just sort of imitated what I've seen. During the fight, the jagoff who tried to steal a six-pack like he's a damn ninth grader, he tried to bite my woman, Karen, but he failed. And she choked the living hell out of him until the cops showed up.
I loved the video because the guy had a look on his face like, well, here we go. Got myself into this one.
Oh, I didn't see the video. There's video of her choking the guy out?
Yeah.
Damn.
He looks a little relaxed, actually. Maybe it's because of the lack of oxygen. I don't know.
Yeah, he does seem pretty chill.
As soon as she got a hold of him, he knew it was over. So maybe that's what limited his struggle. The local cops went ahead and gave Karen a heroism award or something. And everyone in town is pumped.
They reenacted it, too, in the news video, and that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I like the reenactment. I think.
I like her.
Yeah, there's just a cop going, okay, you got in this position here. I bet there's a couple cops that volunteered to get wrestled by that lady.
Wow, this is a really interesting text, and I'm sorry, we got to go back to the story about the dead cheating husband. Okay, and I'm looking forward to Ashley's take on this. So again, married couple, husband dies, drops dead. The wife is very sad, of course. But then she's horsing around on her dead husband's computer, and she finds out this guy's slinging dong from one end of town to the other. Random girlfriends on the side. High-dollar escorts. Years' worth of porno movies downloaded, right? And now she's really devastated. So much so, she ate the man's ashes out of spite or hatred or whatever you might go ahead with. So, here's the text. Ashley, what do you make of this? A listener said, it's unfortunate that women don't understand that having side action has no correlation to our love for them.
Oh, really?
Does that change the way you think about things
Oh,
now?
yeah, totally.
Did you hear some reason there?
Wow, yeah. That's, you know what, he's right.
One has nothing to do with the other, he says. It doesn't change the way he loves you.
Yeah, until the woman does it back to him. And you're sitting there just crying in a dark room in a corner.
Well, that's not fair. She can't cheat on him.
What does she think she's doing, cheating on him? Speaking of Japan, you know how now and again on a plane ride, they might show everyone a movie? You ever been in that situation?
Yeah.
Never been in that situation.
I haven't either. I've never been on a flight long enough, I guess.
On an airplane ride going from Australia to Japan, they effed up and showed a dirty movie during the plane ride. That's fun.
Yeah.
Australia's biggest airline, a company called Qantas, they apologized yesterday after accidentally showing, quote, 40 minutes of penis and boobs to an entire aircraft full of passengers. Qantas says there was some kind of technical glitch that led to this. They played a very sexual movie, something called Daddy-O, starring someone by the name of Dakota Johnson. I've heard that said out loud. So it wasn't like a $2 porno movie. This is a wide release real movie.
And isn't she the one from 50 Shades of Grey?
Never saw it.
Or is she Don Johnson's daughter? Dakota Johnson?
Sounds familiar.
Yes, she is.
It's a mainstream movie called Daddy-O, starring Dakota Johnson. But apparently the movie features, among other things, let's see if this matches up with your list. An erect penis. Did anyone have an erect penis written down on their list of possible dirty scenes from the movie?
Yep, got that one.
Okay, Ashley, 1 point for Ashley. An erect penis. God, I remember those.
Oh, yeah? Fondly or just glad they're gone?
Oh, a mix of both.
Yeah.
It's a mix of both.
Depends on the mood.
In the movie, there were scenes of prolonged sexting.
That's hot.
And profuse use of the F word. And this was playing on every screen on the airplane. It was apparently about halfway through the movie that folks figured out it was filthy. You know, most folks probably weren't paying attention right away. I can just see a dad with his wife and a couple of kids. Honey, was that an erect penis I just saw in this? Not paying full attention, so it was halfway through when they realized this was a dirty movie. Passengers were complaining that the screens they were watching were locked and they couldn't turn it off. So again, the airline apologized. They're embarrassed.
Sean Penn's in that movie too, Daddy-O.
Sean Penn.
I wonder if it's supposed to be his erect penis.
You're already halfway
that'd be
through.
a
You
penis.
might as well
Sean
finish
Let's
it.
consult Mr. Google. Sean Penn erect penis. Search.
Sean Penn. I haven't seen him in a movie in a long time. Well, next time I take a plane ride, I would love that happy little accident. That might take my mind off of my impending horrible death. Because that's usually what I'm thinking about when I'm on a plane ride. How long before we die?
I bet a movie would distract you.
It would.
Especially something like that.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
There's Kelsey, makes a move, and he's out of bounds.
The missus likes it.
And you know they're not married.
Oh, I know.
What is it with ex-Cowboy quarterbacks?
I'm sure I'm
having
in
them
trouble
married?
for saying that.
I know. It's do not. It happens.
Come on. Here's a little number. I like this one. What did Troy Aikman say?
He called Taylor Swift the missus of Travis Kelce.
The missus.
The missus.
Okay.
That's cute.
All right.
The missus.
Monday Night Football last night. I didn't see it. Never saw it. Kansas City Chiefs, though they won. They're going to win every game and win the Super Bowl. They're right now with the Vikings at 5 wins and 0 losses. The Chiefs beat the Saints 26-13. Never saw it. I was watching baseball, and I'll tell you what. It was good and bad last night. The ending of that Tigers-Guardians game was one of the best endings I've seen in a playoff baseball game in friggin' years. It got me right out of my chair.
Every single pitch I was watching, I was on the edge of my seat for that game. It was so good.
And then the Yankees-Royals game was a snooze fest. My God, that was boring. I'm happy the Royals won, but that was so boring.
It went from such a great baseball game to so boring.
It was
really
awful.
Quick.
Awful.
Really quick.
But it doesn't matter. Ugly wins all count the same. Boring wins, whatever you want to call it. The Royals beat the Yankees. Tonight, the National League gets their turn. We'll talk to Shaver about all this. The Lynx have their do-or-die home game tonight against the Sun, the Connecticut Sun. Hate those singular team names. It's a hell of a deal. If they win, they go to the WNBA final. Josh's news is coming up next.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Our technicians are geared up and ready to make sure your system is running reliably this winter. Regular maintenance from Standard Heating and Air Conditioning helps prevent costlier breakdowns in the future, and we know they always happen at the worst time.
Hey, Ashley here. Get your home ready for winter. Schedule your furnace tune-up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and save $30. Have a boiler? Save $40 on your boiler tune-up. Visit standardheating.com to book and lock in your savings. Stay cozy, stay ready.
The Jim Jackson Show isn't just another NBA podcast. Of course, I'll break down everything about the league that I played in for 14 years and now cover as a broadcaster. There will be plenty of interviews with the biggest players, personalities, and insiders in the NBA. I say there's more to life than ball. That's why on this podcast, I'm going to delve into other passions, maybe business and maybe travel. I love lifestyle. The Jim Jackson Show, wherever you listen.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Are you with me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you got to add power. We're going a little too slow. Altitude is looking good, 5,900 feet. We're going to set you up so that as you level off from your turn, you're going to be straight in for Bakersfield Airport. Is that all right?
Oh, okay. Jesus.
You might not have noticed it from that clip, but that's the sound of a lady pooping her pants. On Friday, a passenger had to step in and land a small plane after the pilot suddenly had a medical emergency and went down.
That's terrible.
The plane, a twin-engine Beechcraft King Air 90, was flying from Henderson Executive Airport in Los Angeles to Monterey Regional Airport in California. It was just the pilot and one passenger on board when things took a turn.
Dude.
Mid-flight, the pilot became unwell, leaving the passenger to take control and bring the plane down safely in an emergency landing. When firefighters arrived at the scene, they found the pilot incapacitated and rushed him to a hospital. Now the FAA and National Transportation Safety Board are looking into what happened.
This gal was able to land that stinking plane.
Yeah. I mean,
I would have absolutely no chance of survival.
You could hear in the longer clip, I mean, you could hear it there too, but in the longer clip, you can certainly hear the fear in her voice. And, you know, the air traffic controllers were so calm and so good helping her.
That's crazy.
How do you like your chances? How do you like your chances in that situation, Josh? You're a very smart guy. You're very techie.
I've done some flight simulators before.
Yeah, you have. You be the guy.
Well, I don't know. I'm assuming it's quite a bit different. I mean, this was like a legit flight simulator, and the landing was awful scary. The worst part is, so this was one, like, it was cool. It was with the Air Force, and so they're saying, okay, you see that landing zone over there? And at first I'm like, no, I don't see it. I'm like, well, yeah, it's right over there. It's just kind of to your left. You see it there? I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't see it. Eventually, I had just to pretend I saw it because some of the landings were in the desert, stuff like that, where I couldn't see at all where I was supposed to go. So if I could see the landing zone, maybe I'd do a decent job. But I think in a real-life situation where you're terrified, no, I'd probably crash that plane.
It's tough to even land the plane on pilot wings on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
It's tough to land a plane in the video game Pilot Wings on Super Nintendo.
Pilot Wings on Super Nintendo. You guys know what he's talking about?
Yeah.
I haven't played it, but I'm familiar, yeah.
I've been in a situation where I was the only person on a private plane with the pilot who he didn't look good.
Oh, no.
He just didn't look good. And, I mean, I'm always nervous on an airplane. But in this situation, it never left my mind. If this guy somehow drops dead, and again, he kind of looked sick and old, and I thought, you know, he could go down. And then, obviously, so would with both of us, because I'd have no chance.
That's natural, right? When you get on a plane and the pilot and co-pilot stand in there, you are judging them. Like, God, I hope that person was in Vietnam or something like that. Looks like a grizzled, old, tough guy or gal.
I could tell you some more stories, yeah. I mean, man, that lady deserves all the credit in the world. That's wildly impressive that she was able to handle that all on her own.
Oh, no, she didn't.
What's that?
She was burned beyond belief, and she's passed away.
Well, why didn't you tell us that?
I forgot that detail. No,
yeah,
she's fine.
I love a dark ending.
No, she's fine.
Oh, she's fine.
A 32-year-old Florida woman, Shanice Kiki Brione Davis, has landed herself in trouble again after attacking a speeding driver this time. Sitting in the back seat of a car she felt was going too fast, her real concern wasn't about the ride. She was more worried about getting pulled over, considering she had a firearm and ecstasy on her, which popular music has taught me is called riding dirty. One of the passengers suggested dropping Davis off at home, which seemed like a good idea until they arrived. That's when things spiraled. Davis reached over the seat, tried to snatch the car keys and charging cables. Then she got out of the car, opened the driver's door, grabbed the driver by the hair, and started beating the bejesus right out of her. Things got even more intense when Davis pulled a gun, stepped on the driver's face to pin her down, and held the weapon to her head, threatening, "If you don't stop fighting me, it's gonna get real." And all the while, things were already real as she kept up her assault. When a passenger tried to step in and help, Davis punched him in the face. Another person rushed to the scene only to have their face suffer the same fate. After dishing out some more blows, Davis finally ran back to the first victim and continued that attack.
This gal's just a wrecking ball.
Yeah. An unknown man eventually intervened and pulled Davis off the victim. Then, before fleeing on foot, Davis hurled a large rock at the windshield, smashing it. According to court records, she has quite the criminal history dating back to 2008.
What's the problem?
She didn't like that they were putting her at risk, so she tried to not draw attention to herself by beating up 4 people in public. A Washington Sheriff's Patrol car was hit by a suspected drunk driver Saturday night, and it's the second time the same thing has happened to the same cop. Thurston County Sheriff Derek Sanders was walking a bit stiffly Sunday afternoon, hours after he and his passenger, another police officer, in an unmarked patrol car was T-boned. The other driver was 2023 Independence Day Booze Cruise Dana wasted.
Saw a vehicle approaching, and all of a sudden it veered kind of almost into the oncoming lane. I don't think she even knew that she hit a car. She was pretty intoxicated when I walked by her.
He said he could see the 29-year-old driver headed for his patrol car. He swerved to avoid her, but wasn't lucky enough to succeed. It left him and his passenger hurt, struggling for a bit to get their wits about them after the crash. He said these accidents are happening way too often.
I don't want to make it seem like I'm a special victim because our deputies were just clearing up from a really bad DUI crash with injuries. So it's just happening every night.
Just 18 months ago, Sanders was struck by a different alleged drunk driver. That time, he was knocked unconscious and woke up in a bed at a medical center.
What do we got to do for you DUI people to get you to grow up a little bit? What do you need from us? Is there something you need from us?
Shoot, we've tried everything, right?
We have tried a lot of different things to get you DUI people to grow up a little bit.
Are there other options to get home that may be easy enough?
I can't think of any, Josh.
Maybe an app on your phone?
Yeah, no.
I can't think of any options, Josh.
Well,
Maybe
we
we
got to come
should
up with
start
that.
one, yeah.
It's not just your average citizens who make bad choices when it comes to alcohol. Sometimes Canadian cops do too, like this 18-year veteran of the Toronto Police who's been charged after allegedly stealing some alcohol. A man walked into a store and selected 3 bottles of booze just before 3:30 p.m. Friday. He allegedly exited the store with the alcohol but didn't make any attempt to pay. The 39-year-old constable was arrested later that day and is scheduled to appear in court for the embarrassing arrest next month. Guy'd been a cop for a long time. He made it pretty high in the force, and now he is going to lose his job most likely because he decided to steal some booze.
Did you say like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday?
Well, he wanted to prepare for a party.
Yeah, I suppose.
A 51-year-old Texas teacher is facing serious charges after being caught in a situation that definitely wasn't on the syllabus. A 911 caller reported a suspicious person at an under-construction home. Deputies arrived to find the teacher in a scenario that could only be described as inappropriate, even if it was a sex ed class. And what made this especially bad is her sex partner wasn't just a sex partner. The teacher was tapping a student. Jennifer Massey, an art teacher at Davenport High School, was arrested when officers discovered her inside the house with a male student. Deputies determined the two were engaged in what they described as sexual activity. The school district was quick to condemn her actions and placed her on leave.
Mal ISD declined an on-camera interview, but did send us a statement that read, quote, "The district does not condone inappropriate relationships between teachers and students. Ensuring the safety and security of our students is our top priority. We will continue to cooperate fully with law enforcement during their investigation."
The amorous art instructor now faces charges for an improper relationship between educator and student.
You know, as far as I know, Josh, none of my teachers ever wanted to have sex with me.
Me neither.
Unless one of my classmates can text me and tell me different. I don't think any of my teachers ever wanted to have sex with me.
Yeah, I don't think it was a glancing thought for any teacher. It's a shame. According to data from the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, there's been a noticeable rise in school threats across Minnesota early this year.
Oh, these are always fun. Yeah, some 15-year-old in his grandmother's basement making a threat, and he was just kidding. And then, right? Is that where we're going with this again?
Yeah, and we're only, a lot of times it's not local, but in a few instances in the story, it was. And it's only, school year just started. So far, there have been 14 reported threats, a big jump from just 3 during the same time in 2023.
Honestly, I think most teachers live their lives with complex PTSD, to be perfectly honest. I've been in schools that have gotten shot up at the door, and then you're on a lockdown that way.
In mid-September, 2 charter schools in St. Paul shut down as a precaution, while a third had extra police on site the following day. St. Paul police later arrested a juvenile in connection with those threats. Likewise, in Becker County, a 13-year-old girl was taken into custody last month after her threats led to the closure of a school there for 1 day.
Yeah, and we keep going on and on and on with that bit.
A man's been arrested in connection with a shooting at an Ohio pizza shop, which police say started over line cutting. He wasn't going to have it.
Oh, a line cutter?
Yeah, somebody budged in line.
Yeah, those
hate
folks,
line cutters.
they are not popular people, line cutters.
If it happens, you will die. Court records show Columbus police arrested 32-year-old Willie Stevens for shooting 3 people at Del Baggio Pizzeria last month. The whole thing reportedly began with a heated argument when the victims cut in line, leading to the pepperoni-packed predicament.
Friggin' line cutters.
Thanks to video evidence from the scene, Stevens was identified and taken into custody Tuesday. This would be last Tuesday. Thankfully, no other injuries were reported.
I'll tell
He
you
shot
what.
3 people, man.
Must have been some good pizza.
Yeah.
He was starving. He gets hangry. My wife gets hangry.
And he shot 3 people because he was mad at the line cutter?
Yeah.
My God. Well, I remember, Josh, many years ago, standing in line for AC/DC concert tickets at Dayton's at Ridgedale Mall. We almost had to tune up a line cutter.
I mean, obviously that's frustrating, right? And that would anger even a reasonable person who can maintain their composure. That would frustrate anybody.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine getting so mad. If I had that temper, I just wouldn't carry a gun. I gotta be afraid. I'm gonna use this over pepperoni.
Yeah,
at some
I mean,
point.
it's funny to me because I've had people just at a grocery store, they go in front of me and I just don't say anything. I'm like, well, I get maybe they're just more in a rush.
That's how I look at it. Maybe they got something going on. I guess I'll wait.
Man, maybe you had to be there, but you know how that gimmick used to work when we were kids, when you wanted to get concert tickets. You'd stay up all night drinking and then go hang out in the parking lot at Dayton's around midnight because you knew at 6 a.m. they'd let you in to go get your concert tickets,
Did
right?
that a couple times, yep.
Yeah, we were standing there all night for AC/DC. We were like 4th in line. And as we got into the store, here comes some big shot with his girlfriend, and he just cuts in front of everybody and stands there stubbornly. The crowd was going to kill this guy. They were going to kill him. And the Dayton's people, it's like the Dayton's workers in 1985 were your mothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're trying to control all these drunken 19-year-old AC/DC animals to keep us from choking this guy to death with his scorching hot girlfriend.
Angry her pizza was...
She was really hot.
Was she pretty hot?
Yeah.
That kind of... Sometimes people will let that go, you know. Angry that her pizza was delivered cold and uncut, like my friend Benji. A 22-year-old Florida woman drove from her home to a Domino's location, quarreled with an employee, flung the pizza like a cheesy Frisbee, and then damaged store property in protest. According to an arrest report detailing the 1:30 a.m. altercation, police arrested 22-year-old Ricky Holly early Saturday for criminal mischief following the pizza rage incident. A judge ordered the St. Petersburg resident to stay away from that Domino's.
Oh, that's not good. I don't want anyone to tell me to stay away from their pizzeria.
No.
I want to be welcome in all of them.
A bakery owner in Carson, California is dealing with the aftermath of a rather unusual break-in. Matthew Valentine showed up at his bakery around 6 a.m. Friday, only to find a woman inside, and she wasn't exactly there for the pastries. She was completely naked, with hot buns of her own.
It was gut-wrenching to see. It's my pride and joy. This is a lifelong dream accomplished for me. It kind of seems like every time we try to make a step forward, we kind of get a little pushback attack.
She was just pulling everything out and destroying things, Valentine explained. The place was a mess, with products, furniture, and decorations strewn across the floor. Thankfully, police arrived shortly after and took her into custody, even giving her something to wear before leading her away. Unfortunately, this wasn't the first time Valentine's Bakery had been hit by vandals. It's actually the second incident in less than a year. It's ream crushing.
Must be a shady neighborhood.
There was a bright spot, however. Members of the community showed up later that morning and helped clean up the mess, offering support after the bear-skinned bedlam.
Naked gal ruins a guy's life. That's a first, right?
True. Usually it goes the other way. Yeah. A 59-year-old woman from Coon Rapids is now facing charges after authorities discovered she'd been keeping dozens of cats in her garage. The woman had been selling kittens through what she described as a rescue operation.
Oh, I'll buy a kitten.
But police said it was anything but.
What does she want for a kitten?
Well, these ones you're probably not going to be too interested in purchasing.
Oh.
They apparently started investigating after complaints from the neighborhood started coming in.
We had a team on scene, loaded up 79 cats. Unfortunately, there was at least one deceased on scene.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, that one's probably free.
She initially told officers She had 15 cats, plus her 3 personal pets, but admitted she wasn't taking them to the vet, instead of just buying vaccinations online.
Oh, good.
When law enforcement tried to check on the animals, she wouldn't let them in. Things escalated when a buyer reported 2 kittens they purchased from her had to be euthanized because of how sick they were.
The most shocking thing actually from this case was the level of parasites and diseases transmitted amongst all of those cats.
Oh.
This led police to discover a shocking 79 cats crammed into wire crates in her garage.
What the hell? What's wrong with you?
Along with the 1 dead kitten. The garage was unventilated, and the ammonia smell from cat urine was so strong, officers and animal welfare workers, even wearing protective masks, had to take breaks to escape the stench.
Oh, my gosh.
What are they going to do to this lady?
The Humane Society stepped in to rescue the surviving cats, and a vet involved said that most of the cats' health problems could have easily been treated or prevented altogether with just some basic care.
What are they doing to her?
She's facing several charges.
Good.
I want her to go to prison for a long time. How could you be so mean to all those kitties?
It's awful. A 46-year-old man from Oregon was sentenced to prison for strangling his partner in a park with a dog leash, something kinkier people might be willing to pay for. Right, Ashley?
Yeah.
Before police could arrive, the suspect who choked the victim with the dog leash, Travis Bryant, attempted to flee. Details on why Travis decided to use a dog leash for the August assault are pretty murky, but along with the strangulation charge, police collared Bryant for second-degree assault, resisting arrest, and assaulting a public safety officer.
You ever had the wife leash you up?
Nope.
Josh,
No.
because you're a bad dog.
Never.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't think I'd ever really try.
Choking?
No, being put on a leash.
Why? I thought you kind of liked the like the bondage stuff.
What's happening over there?
I got a little.
Threw up a little.
I barfed a little bit with Ashley's admission.
No,
not because of just because it's her.
The leash is.
I understand.
That's
Sure,
a
you
little
don't.
further for me.
Oh, let me tell you, it can be some good times. I got leashed up once by a gal and took a big deuce on her carpeting.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Rubbed your butt across the carpet.
Let's be real about this, I said.
A 30-year-old Florida man was arrested after police found him catching some Z's on the roof of a Fort Myers Walmart with a revolver by his side. Daniel Rios now faces a trespassing charge after deputies responded to a report of a guy hanging out on the roof with a handgun. When cops arrived, an employee said they were checking the air conditioning unit after Hurricane Helene and stumbled across Rios fast asleep. Deputies climbed up and found him napping, complete with a problem solver, his revolver in hand. Turns out Rios had camped out on the roof the night before to ride out the storm. I guess Walmart doesn't want you up there strapping.
That was his spot to ride out the storm?
Yeah.
And he had his gun there to shoot at the storm?
To shoot at the wind.
Ooh.
In case the wind got too close.
Sure.
There's a couple ways to help the Randy Shaver Cancer Research and Community Fund this month. Mystic Lake Casino guests can donate their change when redeeming tickets during Mystic Lake Change for the Better through 1 week from today. And there's a new burger special benefiting cancer research this month as well. Take a bite out of Randy's Buns with a Big Mo burger and a Summit beer for $16 at Mo's locations in St. Paul, Chanhassen, and Mounds View. Through the 20th, $5 of each Shaver special purchase goes to support the Randy Shaver Cancer Research and Community Fund. A couple of easy ways to help with cancer research. WWE superstar Mike "The Miz" Mizanin, 44 today. Matt Damon, 54. Ellen in the Alien movies. Dr. Grace in the Avatar movies. And Dana in Ghostbusters. Sigourney Weaver is 75.
Oh, my God.
I can't believe it.
Wow.
75. Chevy Chase, 81. Congratulations to Megan and Jordan getting married this weekend from Scenic Mojob guy and Mediocre Machinist Jesus text in on his first anniversary. Happy birthday. Birthday.
Anniversary.
Yeah, happy birthday to your wedding a year ago. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
Got a fat ass and a bad attitude.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh, I mean, it was miraculous. I mean, JT literally sprained his nuts. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Sprained his nuts to play before it comes back, makes the game winner. Unbelievable.
Somebody sprained their nuts in the Dallas Cowboys football game the other day, Randy Shaver. Did you see that replay?
I did not, but it happens.
Yeah, Ken.
I didn't know you could have an actual nut sprain. Sure, torsion.
Oh, sure.
Things like that.
You know how fragile a spot that is, Cubby.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't take much. I once had a shadow knock me out for about a week.
Oh, no.
It's
Hit you right in the pills.
Yeah,
Right.
Wasn't expecting it.
You were
Car drove by, shadow hit my nuts, I was down.
you were inconsolable for a week. Yeah, nuts. They can sprain. I don't know exactly who he's talking about there. There was
Jalen Tolbert. That's Tyler Smith. He's a guard.
Well, you know a lot about the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I read the article.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, it looked like the play before he had the ball tossed right there.
Suddenly I thought, man, Cubby loves the Cowboys.
No. I read a lot. Yes, Tolbert, he got a game-winning catch, right? And Tyler was saying, hey, this is pretty amazing considering he sprained his nuts.
Sprained them. Okay. Yeah, that's a iffy spot. It's been iffy from the word go, Randy Shaver, and there's no change in that.
Doesn't it seem like a design flaw?
It is.
It doesn't seem fair.
It is. They're hanging there.
Yeah.
They're so
there's absolutely nothing to knock
right.
you out.
They're so available that I would call it, yes, a design.
And with age, it's worse. And I know we've talked about this before, but I remember the first time you could take a nut shot from the back. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
Yeah.
It got me. I didn't know I was vulnerable on both sides.
Got to keep your head on a swivel, Josh.
You're right.
Well, that's one tough ball player then if he caught a game-winning touchdown with sprained nuts. Randy, here we effing go. It's Tuesday morning. There's lots happening. I'll tell you this right now. The big league playoffs now. The dramatics yesterday afternoon in that Tigers-Guardians game was some of the best, most exciting stuff I've seen in years.
Yep.
She was a 0-0 tie in the top of 9.
Yeah.
Tigers come up to the plate, by God, they did. But that tie got busted up by a 3-run pinch hit bomb off the bat of the Tigers' Kerry Carpenter, and it was a great call.
Runner goes, pitch is swung on, a high fly ball to right field. This one is gonna fly! A 3-run home run! Kerry Carpenter! The Tigers up 3-0 as Carpenter, an emphatic, towering fly ball home run.
What a pimp that kid turned himself out to be yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, but don't forget about what Scooble did, because Tarek
Scooble, you love Scooble.
He held Cleveland to 3 hits. He struck out 8. He dominated the Guardians.
No doubt.
And he has pitched lights out since certainly all year, but in the last month and a half, every time he goes out there, he wins. I mean, the Tigers, and if he pitches game 2, that must mean he's ready for game 4, probably game 5, if there's a game 5 in this series, because it's best of 5. So the fact that he won that game to send it back to Detroit, even at 1-1, monster game.
If the Tigers end up winning game 3, I think you'll see Scooble on the bump for game 4, because they have a day off in there somewhere. You know how they want to milk this stuff until we can't stand it anymore.
I think the day off is today, right?
I thought they had one more in there.
I think today's a travel day.
Well, I know that for sure, but I think they have one more in there as well. Like maybe between 3 and 4.
Today's a day off. Today's a travel day.
Yes, we've established that.
And then tomorrow and Thursday they play.
Okay.
So they play back-to-back.
Yeah, and then game 5 would be Saturday.
So game 5 likely will be Scooble's game if it goes to a game 5.
He has been lights out. You're correct in everything you're saying about the kid. That Carpenter home run, I mean, that was like all-timer stuff.
Yeah.
I know it's only the division series and only game 2, but that's a highlight that I want to see 20 years from now if I'm still kicking when I'm preparing myself to watch playoff baseball. The reaction of the dugout. And a great call. Yesterday we were talking about how a lot of us can't stand the wacky, over-enthusiastic NFL announcer. There was a moment where some hollering and screaming was deserved.
Yeah. For sure.
And he ripped that dong off of the best closer in Major League Baseball, Emmanuel Clase.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, allowed 3 earned runs all season at home this year. Class A allowed 3 earned runs all baseball season, 3 just on that swing by Carpenter yesterday.
Unbelievable.
Can we hear that call again? I love hearing, you can hear a handful of, and I'm not like some, Detroit Tigers fan. I'm just excited for that moment. You can hear the sparse amount of Tigers fans losing their minds in the ballpark. You can hear his teammates going crazy in the dugout.
Runner goes, pitch is swung on, a high fly ball to right field. This one is gonna fly! A 3-run home run! Kerry Carpenter! The Tigers up 3-0 as Carpenter, an emphatic, towering fly ball home run.
I guarantee you that Carpenter kid just now is peeling himself out from under a dozen college girls in his hotel room. He just sat up in bed and went, it wasn't a dream. That was great.
Love the drama.
On the other side of the bracket, the Royals tied up their best-of-5 series with the Yankees.
Again.
They win 4-2 last night. We discussed this earlier. It was an incredibly boring ball game.
It really was.
But we're happy for the Royals. Anytime anyone can beat the Yankees, happy for the Royals.
Well, and they earned the home field advantage now because they go back to KC tied 1-1. So they've got a chance to win the series at home if they can win the next 2 games.
Did you hear who the Royals are starting for Game 3? They're going to go with Brett Saberhagen.
Are they really?
And then Game 4, David Cohn. I'm kidding.
Oh, my gosh.
And George Brett's going to start at third base. No, that was great. Great for the Royals.
You do cones, and in summertime, you got a cone. You make a move. What does the cone do? Stay still. Exactly.
Yeah.
The cone.
Took me way too long to figure out why we were playing that. Yes, David Cohn. Oh, that was okay. Fine. You beat the Yankees. We dig that.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, all 4 divisional series are tied at 1-1 through 2 games. I don't know if that does anything for anybody, but that was...
It's exciting. No, it's great. And the Mets come home. They're even 1-1. The Padres and the Dodgers play again tonight. Of course, this series has been super contentious. And now it goes to San Diego for Game 3, which will be awesome.
Yeah.
Michael King, who struck out 12 the last time he pitched, is pitching for the Padres tonight. So, yeah, it's... And those 2 games, the National League plays tonight and tomorrow. So they're back-to-back. So there's a chance that those 2 series could be over by the end of tomorrow. So fun. Love it.
It'll be a carnival-like atmosphere tonight in San Diego, I bet.
And the best part about this is...
Carnival-like atmosphere.
The NBA should learn a thing, too. The best part of this is it's a best of 5. It's not a best of 7. So it just tightens everything up. It makes it more dramatic.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We could go all the way with this, Randy Shaver. We should start. We could start talking about shortening seasons, too.
But the postseason, when you play a best of 7 every time,
yes,
it gets to be too much.
It is too much.
I love the wild card format where it's best of 3. Mm-hmm. I love this next series. It's a best of 5.
I'm right there with you.
Keeps it tight.
Yes.
And it just makes it more dramatic.
The NBA and the NHL should be best of 5 until you get to the conference final. 7-game series, especially if it's lopsided or if it's a matchup that nobody in their right mind would care about. It's friggin' painful.
It just ratchets up the intensity when it's a shorter series like
yes. Which brings me back to. God dang it, Josh. Who was it many years ago? I mean, of course, when you get to the championship series in any sport, sure, it carries a certain amount of excitement. But every once in a while, there's a matchup where the casual fan's going to say, there's no way I'm watching that. Who was that years ago, Josh? We were out having beers somewhere, and it was the night before Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And someone said, hey, you going to watch the Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow night? And whoever we were with said, yeah, man, Ottawa and the Anaheim Ducks, lot of history there.
Was that our old buddy Doug?
Might have been Dougie Nelsonowski.
Yeah, I think it was Dougie Nelsonowski.
Oh, Randy Shaver, I'm in favor of 5-game series until the conference final. I'm in favor of shortening seasons. I would love to see the NBA go down to 50 games, the NHL go down to 50 games.
That's not going to happen.
Of course, we know it's not. None of this is ever going to happen.
But the postseason can be shortened. That can happen.
Right.
That is something
that's something that maybe realistically we can hope for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with everything you're saying. The 2 or 3 clowns who are all fighting over ownership of the Shohei Ohtani 50-50 home run baseball, they reached an agreement with Golden Auctions. So this will allow the auctioning of the baseball to go forward despite the fact that they're all still in this pissing match over who had a hand on the baseball. And my ankle, I pinned it between my ankle and your forehead, so it's partially mine. Whatever. If you care, I don't care how much this baseball goes for. I don't really get involved in any of that stuff. Hey, a Babe Ruth card went for 7 points. I don't care. But just in case you do, now the auction can go forward. These 3 clowns are still fighting over who owns the ball. Bids are around $2 million right now for that baseball. Again, if you care.
A lot of money.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a few bucks. I'll agree with that.
Life-changing.
Yes, it is.
I'll agree with all that. Never saw it, but apparently Monday Night Football last night, the Kansas City Chiefs are now right along with the Vikings at 5 wins and 0 losses.
Yes, they are.
They beat the New Orleans Saints 26 points to 13. Nobody cares anymore about the Chiefs. I like the Saints. I like their head coach, Sean Payton.
Sean Payton's not the head coach.
I still like his style. I do. Sean Payton.
Do you like him in Denver? Because that's where
I do.
is.
I do. I like him anywhere.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see what people have to say about... okay. Medical device Jesus. He has some decent ideas once in a while. He texted in to say, let's cut the NBA, Major League Baseball, and NHL seasons, series, down to 5 games in each playoff series.
Seems like you agree with that so far. Right?
Yeah. And for the NFL, Randy Shaver, listen now, for the National Football League, let's make the Super Bowl a 7-game series.
Back to back to back to back to back.
No.
The survival of the fittest.
Well, you think you got drunk in the old days when the Super Bowl was just 1 game? Imagine how drunk you'd be if it's a 7-game series.
7-game bender.
Imagine how many wings and Doritos you can go through for a 7-game series.
You know, the positive is it's likely we'd get a Weird Al Super Bowl halftime show.
They got
7 games to fill.
A lot of time to fill.
There's a very good chance for that, Josh.
That'd be awesome. We've been waiting on that for years.
How many of you are still watching the Manning cast instead of the regular Monday Night Football? You love the comedy of the Mannings, and the Archie said this, and Peyton, where are the Manning cast fans?
I kind of forgot about it.
I watched it on and off, like I'd flip back and forth the first year of it, and I haven't since. Although when the Backstreet Boys did their song, the Manning cast song.
I don't know that the Backstreet Boys made a Manning cast song.
It made me want to tune in.
Everybody, yeah, watch the Manning cast. Yeah, everybody, it's on Monday night. Manning cast, all right.
All right.
Oh, my gosh.
I have to tell you, Josh, I'm tense right now, and I don't know why.
That's why sometimes I can't wait to play these clips.
I'm tense. And I don't dislike the Backstreet Boys. I don't. I didn't pay attention close enough to them to dislike them. I thought that song, I Want It That Way, which was a cover of Weird Al's eBay song, I thought that was a catchy tune.
Oh, I love. Well, that's In Sync. Or no.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Wait, who does that?
I Want It That Way is Backstreet Boys.
That is Backstreet Boys.
Anyway,
I love that song.
I didn't know they made a song for the Manning cast. So, like you, Josh, I think I tuned into the Manning cast.
I was excited for it at
I
first.
like Eli Manning.
He's fun.
I really do. I'm burned out on what's
Peyton.
the other one's name?
Peyton.
Yeah. I like Eli. I tried it once. It never went back. Okay, but apparently last night during the Manning cast, while they're covering this Chiefs-Saints game with Andy Reid is one head coach, Sean Payton's the other, Archie Manning said that Eli Manning Archie's the dad now. He brought him into this world. He can take him out if he wants to.
My parents used to say that to me.
Archie. Now, I did like watching Archie play football, too, back when I was a kid. Archie said that Eli Manning, at birth, am I on track so far here, John?
So good.
At birth, Eli Manning had a 2-pound foreskin.
Speaking of being born, Dad, I mean, Cooper was 12 pounds, 3 ounces at birth. I was 12 pounds, 1 ounce. Eli was only 10. Were y'all concerned something was wrong with him?
Doctor said actually they weighed him after he was circumcised. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. You said it, Dad, not me.
I couldn't hear what he said. What did he say?
He was weighed after he was actually heavier at birth, but they didn't weigh him until after he was circumcised.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
That's what you want your dad saying about you.
Yeah.
Like he said, you said it, Dad, not me.
All right. And is this a joke or something? A couple people texted in saying it's not Peyton Manning anymore. It's painting.
It's a joke.
It's a joke.
It's from a commercial.
Oh,
he becomes an artist.
Oh, he's in a commercial?
Dana, I think you need to sit down. Yes, painting.
Good for him to grab an endorsement.
Are you saying Peyton or painting?
Painted.
That's the cute new.
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
It's just hilarious. I'm sure it's just hilarious. Okay, fill me in on this now. According to Ashley, there's some new Viking super fan who is, what's the term the young people say? Going viral?
Yep.
There's a couple of them, right?
All right. Well, Ashley tells me there's some Viking super fan. He calls himself the Rolling Rocket. That name is playing off of the beer Rolling Rock. We used to drink that in high school. We called it Rolled Up Sock.
This is the first time I've ever even heard of that beer.
Yeah, it's not the most prominent.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Wow. You drink a lot. I'm surprised.
She doesn't drink beer.
Yeah, not anymore.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Rolling Rocket is the guy's name. He's a college kid. He puts a Rolling Rock beer flag on as a cape. He puts an empty 12-pack on his head, and then he chugs a beer, and then he jumps through a table, so he's doing the Buffalo Bills thing.
Sometimes he doesn't make it through the table.
I was going to say tries to make it through the table. A lot of the times I've seen videos, he does not go through.
He just lays there in pain.
He just kind of bounces and then just kind of lays there. A beer pours on him.
So I should look for this on Twitter, Rolling Rocket?
Yeah, it's everywhere, but it is originally from TikTok.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys are fans? You guys know who I'm talking about?
Not until Ashley brought him up. I wasn't familiar.
I just watched one where he doesn't make it through the table.
Yeah.
The thing that, if you listen to it, Dana, obviously you can't listen to the audio, but in every single video, that there's a dog barking in the background.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell it must be his dog. That's very worried for his safety.
Right, and this one where he doesn't go through the table, the dog comes running up, looks very concerned.
The other one that was going around was the female Vikings fan dressed like a Viking in the London game.
Oh,
Hubba
yeah.
Hubba.
Yep.
You guys, I'm assuming you all saw photos of her.
No.
Jesse LaRue.
She had some honkers on her.
Yo, when we were watching the game, I kind of wanted to rewind it, but I thought, my wife's not going to appreciate that.
The word was honkers. So a busty female Vikings fan at the London game?
Yes.
Okay, I'll look for her too.
Yeah, she became very popular online.
All right, this stuff, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. But I don't know, Some of yous like this kind of stuff. There was a study done by someone called Flash Picks and also the folks there at Reddit. They have found that NFL fans in general are the most foul-mouthed pro sports fans. Coming off with the mouth cute with swear words and curse words and terrible things. Randy Shaver, you able to follow this so far?
Yeah, so far, and I don't disagree with that.
NFL fans are the most foul-mouthed professional sports fans.
Yes.
Vikings fans are the 8th rudest fans in the NFL. Now, they based this on how many curse words were posted in the Vikings Reddit fan forum. Did I say that properly?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The Vikings Reddit fan forum. They based it on how many curse words were used. Vikings fans are the 8th most prominent swearers. And there you go.
Eagles fans, number one.
No.
Giants fans.
Yeah, I know. You go down all the predictable routes, don't you? Whenever we have one
Patriots
of these.
fans.
Right,
It's in the
right.
NFC North.
East
Cowboys.
Coast. You know, you. No, according to this silly report, it's Detroit Lions fans use the most.
No way.
Well, this is based on Reddit forums, and Philadelphia fans don't know how to work the internet.
Exactly. That's not an accurate way to do that.
Well, you ever been to Detroit?
Yes, I have.
Wouldn't you have a foul mouth if you lived in Detroit?
Not now, I wouldn't. Maybe back in the day.
A lot of girls with honkers in Detroit. That's what I've heard.
And then they even went as far as to break it down this way. Vikings fans' favorite curse word is the F word.
What is your favorite, out of curiosity? It is a classic. You're right.
I can't even allude to it.
Oh, you can't?
My favorite curse word?
Oh. Really? You don't want to get anywhere near it?
No.
Okay.
I wonder if ours is the same then.
Well, you write yours down and bring it in here, will you?
Okay.
Let's see if we have the same favorite. What's the word I'm looking for? Favorite. Let's see if Ashley and I have the same favorite curse word.
I always thought F-knuckle was pretty funny when you combine those two words.
My brother uses that one, but he's one of the best in the business. My brother's one of the best swearers anyone would ever meet. So he combines things that shouldn't be combined.
Pretty good.
Oh, he's the best I've ever known.
I texted a buddy the other day some information, and his response was, you know the C word for gentlemen, genitalia, you know?
Sure.
He just wrote back, caterpillar C. And it takes the sting out of it if you can't say it, but that one got me. I'd never heard that combination before.
I'll wait for Ashley has come into the studio here and handed me a piece of paper where she wrote down her favorite curse word. I'll wait till she gets back into her desk there, too. We can talk further about it.
A buddy of mine called me a dip-ass the other day in text message, and that made me laugh. I hadn't heard that one in a while.
That's a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's kid stuff.
Do you mind just writing yours down for me?
Yeah. Is Ashley back?
Yes.
Yeah, was it not the same?
Can I tell folks what your favorite curse word is? Because Josh just alluded to it.
Yeah.
Ashley's favorite curse word is the C word that Josh was just referring to.
Oh, really?
That's fun to
use it
use.
in a sentence. I'm kidding.
Blank a doodle do.
I've never heard. Oh, yeah. That's good.
You want me to write down
let me see yours.
for you, Josh? You want me to write down my favorite curse word? All right.
Oh, I'm excited.
It's a long word.
Yeah. That's it. I'm trying to make sure I spell it right.
Why don't you just draw a picture?
You know, there was one time, one of my favorite.
It's hyphenated. It's hyphenated.
One of my favorite text faux pas Nick's ever had is he was calling somebody a genius, right, sarcastically.
Yeah.
And off air he's like, "Wait, how do you spell genius?" And he spelled it wrong.
If I'm going to call somebody,
son of a bitch!
If I'm going to call somebody stupid, I better know how to spell. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is foul.
I mean, was I lying? I had to hyphenate it.
Yes.
Because it's a combination. Like I said, my brother and maybe all the Bournes have this talent. We're able to combine curse words.
I've never seen this combination.
Yeah. It's not a lot of you either have it or you don't. This is a talent that you either have or you don't.
Yep.
It's an intangible in life.
Intangible is a nice way to put it.
And we've worked with a couple that in this building are the best in the business at it, and in much different ways. Much different. One is so smooth, he could talk to your grandmother with his foul language, and she wouldn't notice. The other one, it's like a punch in the face every time he says it. It's intimidating. It's like a thunderclap.
Yeah. And there's certain... How do I explain this? One of my brother's brightest moments ever, when spitting out just pure filth, he directed these angry words at the sun. See, that's part of why I'm so proud of him, and I think he's such an original when it comes to foul language. He found a way to dump just the most disgusting words at the sun one afternoon because he thought it was too sunny out. See, it's kind of like the Christian Ponder figuring out ISIS. You folks, you can't even really understand this. Am I right? You're all kind of looking at me like, what do you mean? You're not even smart enough to understand what my brother can do with filth. You have to be around it a little more often. A planet, okay? He went after a planet. You got to have balls for that.
Well, a star, but yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, whatever the hell.
You know what? I don't know that I've ever heard your brother swear. He's such a polite guy.
My God. He's fooled all of you. He's a sick person.
I really enjoy him.
I would love to see that side of him.
He's awesome. And I love, like, he and my wife can hang out and just, like, love talking to each other. I love your brother. I want to hear some of that.
Just shut it. I'm telling you, he's pulled the wool over every one of your eyes, and it's so silly to hear you guys go, "Oh, I think he's into." It's all he's a phony.
Those are the most dangerous people,
right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I get such a kick out of that. You know, Janelle too. Janelle's like, "Your brother is dead." Shut it. He's a freaking. He's a loser.
I mean, you've told us some stories. I bet the guy that he put a guy's head through a dishwasher, I bet that guy doesn't have good feelings about it.
Oh, you're talking about when he tried to put a friend of ours' head through a stove.
Oh, it was a stove.
Yes.
I thought it was a dishwasher.
Yes. There was a scrap at the house one night, Randy Shaver, and my brother decided, well, I've had enough of this guy. He grabbed him by the back belt loop of his pants and the back of his neck, did about 3 or 4 spinoramas to gain some momentum, right? And then he was going to launch this guy face first into our stove. There were some violent I, being the hero that I am, Josh, I threw my body between this poor victim and the stove, so my brother catapulted this man's skull into my rib cage.
Oh, you got speared.
And we both, me and the poor guy, we both crumpled down to the floor, and we landed in the 69 position.
Was this the same place that had a bunch of mice in the stove?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the mouse
and
stove,
you found,
yeah.
like, mice on your pizza and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Male Nurse Jesus says on the topic of you calling the sun a planet, he said, Nick, it's a star, genius. Geneyeus.
Is that good or bad the way he spelled it? Now, I don't care at all about Stephon Diggs. I never thought he was all that damn terrific or interesting when he played here.
Oh, he was a pretty good receiver.
He was.
But this is kind of fun. You know, I know there's a lot of sports fans here in town who still want to, hey, did you see what Stephon Diggs did? Diggs this, Diggs that. Who cares? He doesn't play here anymore. I don't care. But this is kind of fun. I don't have a lot of follow-up on this story because I simply don't care, and you shouldn't either. Here's all you need to know. Here's what I have. According to a website called Bro Bible, Stephon Diggs can't stop having sex with famous rappers' girlfriends.
Oh, yep.
That's kind of fun, right?
Yep. Word on the street is that he had sex with Cardi B.
Cardi.
She was with Offset when she was 8 months pregnant.
Okay, I got lost in there somewhere.
I bet Nick understood sex and 8 months pregnant.
Yeah, I did.
Because he's been terrified by that combination for years.
I'll dummy it down a little bit. So this pop star that people are claiming he had sex with, she was married when they supposedly had sex.
Okay.
And she was also 8 months pregnant when they supposedly had sex.
So Stephon Diggs, according to rumors that you hear, allegedly Stephon Diggs had sex with a famous lady who was 8 months pregnant at the time?
Yep.
I haven't tried that.
Sex with a pregnant lady?
Yeah.
I've heard that it's great.
You should try it.
I've had just like overheard conversations or had Ben just straight up say like, yeah, when they're pregnant it's better.
I've never heard opinions one way or the other. I mean, I know some people that's kind of like a fetish for them, but I've never heard it's better or worse.
Stephon Diggs, again, according to Bro Bible and Ashley, can't stop having sex with famous rappers' girlfriends. So there you go.
Well, that's just one example. I assume there's others, right?
Yeah, see, like I said, I'm not going to spend all day talking about this because I won't know who I'm talking about in the first place. And
I got you.
It doesn't really matter. Just know from now on.
I'm just curious how many.
I don't know. A handful.
It was pretty funny, though, because with all this news going around, a video resurfaced of the Vikings players getting interviewed in the locker room about, like, what guy on the team that plays for the Vikings would you not want to ever date your sister? And everybody's answers were Stephon Diggs.
Oh, yeah, I think we played that audio back. Okay, a lot of texters are saying what makes it better with a pregnant woman is she won't get pregnant again.
That's true.
So you're safe for several months.
Can't get double pregnant.
Stress-free.
That's right.
All right, you want to go back to foul language real quick?
Of course.
Got an interesting text on the topic. The listener says, would it be wrong to say that a youth hockey locker room trains young boys to have creative foul language? I remember, he says, multiple instances of our coaches having to walk out of our locker rooms because they simply couldn't be part of what garbage we were spewing out of our mouths. Well, yeah, filthy young guys. Well, I should say young guys. We pride ourselves in being filthy, or didn't we, when we were, 12, 13, 14? You wanted to be the guy in your neighborhood that knew the new foul, awful, disgusting sexual term or whatever.
You loved learning. You wanted to know all of it.
So the question, would it be fair to say that a youth hockey locker room breeds foul-mouthed men? Yeah, probably.
You know what else? The bus. I could tell you for my kids, that was a game changer. When they started riding the bus to and from school instead of getting dropped off, the education was a lot more foul than it had been before.
That's where the real learning takes place at school.
Well, and then sometimes it was stupid at our school. We had elementary kids that would ride the same bus as high schoolers.
Oh,
so
right.
it was even worse.
That's dangerous.
I think that's kind of how it goes for ours, too.
Now, specifically on the topic of youth hockey and what it might do to a young kid, or at least what it used to. It might be a much straighter-laced operation now. In the 70s, it was not. We were animals. Ashley.
Yep.
Your favorite dirty word? Do you remember it?
Yes.
We used to spell it out loud. You know when your youth hockey team gathers around the goal crease and your goalie before the game and you say, 1, 2, 3, let's go, right? Mm-hmm. We used to spell your favorite dirty word, Ashley, before every one of our hockey games when we were in 4th grade.
Oh, my gosh. 4th grade? I would have died.
And, it sounded, from a distance, our parents couldn't figure out what we were chanting. But we would spell it out. Let's say the word was love, although that's far from the actual word that we're discussing. We used to say L-O-L-O-V, L-O-L, I'll get there. L-O-L-O-V, L-O-V-E, spells love. Only we would spell your favorite dirty word, Ashley.
That's so cool.
It was the most bizarre thing. It was our very first game of the year.
Who started that?
It was our very first game of the year. We're 4th graders, and we all are gathered around the goaltender, around the crease, and somebody said, well, what's our chant going to be this year? And we were all kind of hemming and hawing. What should we say? Spell out Wyzetta or 1, 2, 3, let's go or whatever. And one of our teammates said, we're going to spell the C word.
Was there anybody on your team you think didn't know the word yet and was just part of it?
I don't think so.
Because I went along with some of those words and I didn't know.
So
I got busted by my dad once and he's like, do you even know what that means? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course I know what it means. And I had no idea what it meant. And he's like, he kept challenging me on it. I'm like, okay, fine, I don't. He said, I'll tell you what, you can start using those words when you know what they mean and decide if you still want to use them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I guess to be more clear, we would spell the C word.
Pee Wee C. Jesus said, I'm 49. I coach Pee Wee hockey. I still learn new things in the locker room. My son made a terribly inappropriate sexual joke a couple weeks ago. And I was like, what are you doing? Why would you say something like that in front of your mom? And I felt bad because I snapped at him, but he didn't get it. He didn't even know.
Yeah,
and when I told him,
right.
he was horrified. But he used it perfectly. He executed it perfectly.
There's no way you can tell us what it was? A reference to...
Oh, no. Don't do it, Josh.
A reference to what happens to a woman when they're aroused, okay?
Sure.
And he mentioned that doing that for someone's mother, right?
Oh, no.
In front of his own mom.
Why would he say that in front of his mother?
He didn't know. And so when I told him what it meant, he was mortified. He's like, oh I thought it was just kind of like a your mom joke. I didn't realize what I was saying.
Oh, honey, no.
But I got to say, he used it perfectly. I was proud in that regard.
The proud dad moment.
Oh, yeah, for a second. But, of course, that's what I was upset about. Like, why would you say that in front of your mom, you moron? But, yeah, he didn't know. Oh, that was embarrassing for all of us, I'll tell you what.
I saw a video yesterday, and it really does look like Raiders quarterback Gardner Minshew. The video really does look like Gardner Minshew was picking his nose and eating his boogers on the sideline.
I think he did.
No.
You're right.
Yep.
I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt.
No.
I wish we had multiple camera angles like they do when you're watching a game.
Like all these replay angles.
Yeah.
This is up on 93x.com.
No, not going there.
Breaking it down the telestrator, like Madden back in the day.
His finger made a football move.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I can't watch that stuff either, Randy Shivers.
I can't do that. No.
I've said it before. I would rather have you
That's
just
disgusting.
I'd rather have you just take a dump on the floor here next to me than have anything to do with boogers.
That is your kryptonite.
It is.
Boogers are your kryptonite.
That's why I could never have children.
It's different.
No, it isn't. The first time one of those little kids had a booger or a runny nose, I'd put them out in the front yard with a for sale sign on them.
They have them all the time.
I used to think that too. I'm like, how am I going to deal with diapers and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, if it's your kid, it's different.
It's different. Yeah.
It's still gross. Don't get me wrong.
If it's your grandkid, you just give them to the parents.
Now I got to say word life to a listener by the name of Daniel. Sent in a little story this morning about Bud Grant. And right now someone's saying, did these guys just go from the C word
and boogers
then to boogers and now to a football and Minnesota legend? Yeah,
yes.
we did. It's called trying to right the ship, I guess. We were way down here. Let's bring it up a little bit. Bud Grant. Now, a lot of our listeners know my story about a visit to Maple Lake 34 years ago or something when I was a 19 or 20-year-old kid. Me and some pals went to Maple Lake for the Maple Lake street dance. And we're young and raising hell and having a good time, and I got in a fight with a dude, and little did I know, when you get into a fight with a Maple Lake resident, they all join in and think it's totally okay to do so. So I started fighting one person, ended up fighting 45 different people all at once, including, if my memory serves me correctly, the man who was mayor at the time.
Oh, even an elected official.
They beat my ass. And I vowed revenge, and I will get my revenge. You guys all know the story. Maple Lake turned on me in 1991, and I'm going to get even. But that was the inspiration behind this listener by the name of Daniel, who sent in this Bud Grant story. It's about when Bud Grant was a young person playing town baseball. And it says here, this is Bud speaking. Well, not yet. Okay. Bud was called on to pitch in Maple Lake in a town ball game. He had no transportation at the time, so he got a driver to drive him to the ball game. He and his girlfriend at the time, Pat, who became his wife.
What?
Pardon me?
He and his what?
His friggin' wife.
Oh, no, his girlfriend. You pronounced it weird.
Sorry. This lady, Pat, who he eventually married, at the time, she was only his girlfriend.
Oh, there you go.
Okay?
I know what you're talking about.
She was only his girlfriend at the time.
That's fun.
It is. So this driver picks up Bud and Pat, drove them to Maple Lake. And here's Bud speaking now. After the game, I go to look for the ride back home, and the driver wasn't around. There was some sort of family emergency. The guy had to take off. No one else could drive us home. So, oh my damn, listen to this. They had to take a bus from Maple Lake to St. Cloud and then get on another bus to take them back to Minneapolis. What a friggin' nightmare. But this is like 1927 or something, right?
Yeah, right.
And then once they got to Minneapolis, they had to take a streetcar home. Well, now we got to get on the streetcar. Jesus, with old-timey music playing in the background, right? He said, I didn't end up dropping off Pat until 2 o'clock in the morning. His girlfriend at the time, Pat. Her mother was not happy. Bud says it almost ended their relationship. Her mom didn't think it was a very likely story what happened to them. Bud Grant closes out his story by saying, safe to say, I never went back to Maple Lake. Bud Grant even couldn't tolerate you people.
Yeah, you both had bad experience. Who do you think had it worse? I mean, your beating probably was relatively quick, and then you could go home in your personal vehicle.
I would rather take the beating.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Then go from Maple Lake to St. Cloud to Minneapolis, and then take a streetcar to St. Louis Park or wherever he and Pat were living.
I'd get my ass kicked by the mayor. I was in that area not too long ago, and they still have the chalk outline of where your body was. So back to the topic of your kids making a joke they don't understand. Swamp Stomping Jesus said his son once asked a girl if he could buy her a drink so he could see how good she swallowed and didn't know what that meant.
Oh.
Can you imagine being now at least mine was in the privacy of our home. I can't imagine having to explain to a stranger. I swear my kid had no idea what they were saying.
That would take me
God. Oh, my God.
Yeah, you were a bartender, Ashley.
Oh, my gosh. If I had like a 12-year-old kid say something like that.
Angry bus driver Jesus said, you'll find kids with snot on the bus. You're driving a bus, there's going to be a couple
right.
of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
That's all
there
they
will.
are. That's all they are, just snot.
Here's a listener saying, I'm in Maple Lake right now putting in a storm sewer. Oh, he says he's near the mayor's house. Well, this was 34. I doubt it's the same guy.
It's about 10 mayors later.
Yeah, this is 10 or 12. Don't be going after the current mayor. This is a long time ago.
Wouldn't that be impressive if it's the same mayor and he's still riding on that election? We beat Nick's ass.
Yeah, that's part of his campaign.
Yeah. I would guess that the mayor of Maple Lake in 1991, maybe he's not even with us anymore. I don't know. Don't be going after anyone in Maple Lake. That's my problem. I'll handle that.
After your story, Nick, this person said when they drive through Maple Lake like they did yesterday for work, they keep their windows rolled up and their doors locked. Someone else says, went to a bar in Maple Lake Saturday after duck hunting. Everyone in there looks like they're always ready for a fight.
Yeah.
They think they're friggin' tough. A lot of talk, a lot of yap. That's what I get from the friggin' people in Maple Lake. It's do or die tonight. Randy Shaver for the Minnesota Lynxy Lynx. You're pretty pumped about it.
Sorry, I haven't really followed that as closely as other things.
And the Pigs are going to start the season with three goalies on the roster. Three goalies. You know, at the end of the day, I think about women. You know, I think about women's bodies. Now, maybe that'll all change. Maybe I'll end up sleeping with old goalies. I mean, things being what they are. Who knows? The Pigs are going to start the season with three goalies on the roster. You got your Jesper Wallstead.
Yes. Made the roster.
Old Phil Gustafson. And, of course, Mark the Animal Andre Fleury. It's a rarity for a club to have three goaltenders hanging around, but blame that Wallstead kid because I guess he whooped ass in training camp, and they're not gonna toss him aside. He just signed a deal with the club for a couple of years. I think they were planning on going with Old Phil and Mark the Animal, but Wallstead whooped ass in training camp, so let's keep the prick around.
Well, I wonder how long they'll do that, though, if they're not getting the kind of playing time that they want this young guy to get.
Yeah, I doubt this will last very long.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe to begin with, just to see where everybody is probably what they're doing. But eventually, I have a feeling they'll probably reduce that down to two goalies.
The coach over there, Snitsky, John Hines, he says he and his staff got to figure out a way to keep three goaltenders engaged, practicing.
Yep. Right.
and at least relatively happy. Good luck with that. Goalies are idiots. They're nuts. Good luck keeping a goalie happy. They're nuts. Look at Jordan Parisi. There's something wrong with him.
Sure.
He's just unique.
You guys know my pal Vinny, right?
Yeah.
He was a goalie.
Oh boy.
He's an idiot. And
not all goalies are.
All goalies.
Not all.
Every damn last one of them.
My stepson's a goalie, and he's not an idiot.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
I'd say he's a pretty sharp kid.
Yeah, he's not. He's by far an idiot.
I don't like your stepson, Cam, at all, but I do enjoy hanging out with his girlfriend. She's a very nice lady.
His girlfriend is awesome.
Yeah. Genevieve is her name, I think.
Nope, not even close, actually.
As you guys know, Mark the Animal Fleury is playing in what he says his last season.
Yep.
And like Randy Shaver mentioned, it's Thursday night. They're going to start it up.
Hard to believe we're already there. I think the Timberwolves start 2 weeks from tonight. Is that right?
If I were Jerry Lawler, I would say.
I think 2 weeks from tonight.
I think the 22nd is their first game.
Yep, 22nd against the Lakers.
Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Is that a different sport?
No, I don't care what sport we're talking about. If it's PJ Fleck shouting out and being obnoxious, I dig every second of it.
Bring your ass.
Where was PJ when I got in that friggin' street fight in Maple Lake? I bet me and PJ could have cleaned those sumbitches out.
You know, I bet he could fight.
I bet he can fight.
Yeah, I bet he could probably took 8 to 9 people on for you. He's got a motor.
Oh, I bet he knows karate.
Heck yeah. And he's got a low center of gravity. I bet he could kick some butt.
I think PJ's cool. I've always thought he was cool. What did he say? Best 2-2 team in the country. Is that what he said?
Yeah. Yep.
Best 2 and 3, 3 and 2, whatever they are. Yeah. There
Roll
you
the
go.
boat, Sky.
Roll the boat, Sky.
He just takes takes like 3-4 cough drops at a time to try to get his throat to calm down.
Man.
I dig his vibe. Okay.
Yep.
That's coming up Saturday. They play a football game. Randy Shaver.
In the Rose Bowl.
The friggin' Rose Bowl, first time since 1978, all that stuff. Sky, you might row the boat. Go Gophers. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Randy.
Sounds good.
Thanks for every damn thing. We will be back in a handful of minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our technicians are geared up and ready to make sure your system is running reliably this winter. Regular maintenance from Standard Heating and Air Conditioning helps prevent costlier breakdowns in the future, and we know they always happen at the worst time.
Hey, Ashley here. Get your home ready for winter. Schedule your furnace tune-up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and save $30. Have a boiler? Save $40 on your boiler tune-up. Visit standardheating.com to book and lock in your savings. Stay cozy, stay ready.
You met Lala Kent on Vanderpump Rules. Now Lala and her friends share everything on Give Them Lala.
Baby S is giving me money-making moves in the room.
Yeah. So I'm going to have one kid who's like, I want to just live in a box and do like artistic dancing and paint. Ocean's going to be like, it doesn't matter if I'm broke, Mom. I'm passionate about it. And Baby S is going to be the one that says passion doesn't pay bills, Ocean.
Watch what Lala is talking about on YouTube or search for Give Them Lala wherever you listen.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
What's a push pop? It's a sexual term that I just made up.
What's a push pop?
I'll send you some links.
On 93X.
Crazy bastard, you. Here we go. How you doing? Hope you're doing just great. Just wonder. You're listening to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. It is, what time is it now? 8:32. And she's a Tuesday. Boy, we're just idiots.
What do you mean?
These effing days.
I mean, I agree.
Society in general, I'm talking about, Josh. Boy, are we idiots. We're just dicks. And we're dicks over the silliest things. Now, don't get me wrong. I like to argue back and forth just as much as the next guy. I do. But come on with this. What a reason to judge somebody. Help me out if you can, because I have no idea what I'm talking about. More than 1 in 5 iPhone users, we'll just skip that. forget about the more than 1 in 5. I hate when they throw complicated arithmetic into a story. Who cares? iPhone users admit they look down on people with Androids.
Oh, I hear it all the time.
You sound like a typical Apple user, Nick. Just like you to say something like that.
I give Wapple and Dana crap all the time.
I told this to Nick off the air. I said, when we were talking about this topic, I said, oh, yeah, Ashley, she busts their balls all the time for having Android.
Okay,
Like,
so
whatever. Look at you with your stupid Android and your green messages.
You bring up that, the green.
So you guys are all familiar with this.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, there's some snobbery involved in cell phones.
One of my friends says she wants to buy me an iPhone. Like she goes, you can keep your other phone, but when you contact me, you'd have to use this iPhone that I'm going to buy you.
What's the problem? See, this is not my language. I don't even know what I have.
You have an Android.
You have an iPhone. No, he doesn't have Android. He has an iPhone.
Okay.
Could have sworn
you guys, I'm cool.
You sound like a typical Android user.
Well, because I am.
Before you guys get into a karate fight, I'm cool with either one. I don't know the difference between one or the other. I don't even know what I own. What is the problem? So, okay, well, first off, who's on what side?
I'm with you. There's benefits to both, depending on what you're into.
Okay, Wapple?
I like Android.
I mean, I know people that are into Android. What I always hear is it's way more customizable. They typically do come out with features before Apple does.
Mm-hmm. And I use Google for everything. Google Photos, Google Drive, email is Google, and that's like Android's geared towards that.
What about the other two? Ashley, Dana, where do you go with this?
I'm exactly with Wapple. I use Google for everything, so the Android just seems to work better.
I've always had an iPhone. Like that, it's kind of like what you get when you're, I guess, younger. So once I got into high school and I got an iPhone, you can't really change because everything's the way your data transfers over and stuff. Like once you're kind of like Team iPhone or Team Android, you got to stick to that usually.
I think well that's a good point, right? You've got so much information there, but Apple users get crap because they're typically not as tech savvy as somebody who uses Android. I mean, that's kind of... Mm-hmm. And then also, there's such a wide variety of Android phones, you can find different price points, where if you want to buy an iPhone, you're spending a ton.
You spend basically the base price to get the iPhone.
This is very interesting to me.
Payment plans.
Here's a listener.
I've never once bought a phone outright. That's
straight
insane.
up.
Yeah.
So what happened for me is when my wife was pregnant, I bought her an iPad, and I'm a huge hypocrite because I hated Apple. I hated that you had to buy into their ecosystem. I hated how sandboxed everything was. I hated how it was so difficult to own your own content. And when she got the iPad, I thought, well, this thing's actually pretty sweet. And then I like it better for audio editing. I've never had an issue with that. And so I kind of went all in on the ecosystem. There's certainly frustrations, but yeah, it's no joke. I mean, there's some people that are very on one side or the other.
And that's another thing with Apple products. It seems to be like a lot more people that edit their own bands or videos and stuff like that. They seem to go to Apple because you could do more.
This is crazy.
There's, and
you guys, you realize you could be making all of this up, and I wouldn't know the difference.
Oh, we have.
You sound like a typical Apple. Yeah, and I think sometimes Apple users might get the reputation of being a bit douchey.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of iPhone users, they don't call it like, hey, I can't find my phone. It's, oh, I can't find my iPhone. Or here, I need to go grab my iPhone from the bathroom. I left my iPhone in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh, gross.
They like to make sure that it's known that they use an iPhone.
Man, these conversations just don't happen in my world. A listener has texted in to say it's the modern Ford versus Chevy.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. By damn. So again, iPhone users look down on people with Androids. They think less of someone if they see a green text bubble.
That's what Ashley was saying.
Okay.
That annoys me because then I can't text them the same way I would text somebody else with an iPhone. I always feel bad when we're in a group chat and I'll heart a message from Josh. And Josh's notification, since he has an iPhone, will be like, oh, Ashley loved your text. But I'm sure, Wapple and Dana, you get that text that says, it's like you get an extra text that says, Ashley, this contact loved this person's text message.
Isn't it different now, though?
It's different.
With
yeah.
the,
It is a little different?
With the new
Oh, yeah.
update on iPhone, it's different.
Oh,
Okay.
so you can see that now?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Then I won't feel as annoying when I do that anymore.
Yeah, what do they call it? Like RCS. Now they have that, so the phones can communicate a little easier.
Yep.
All right, I got to help me out now. Someone said something. Oh, it was me. I said iPhone users look down or think less of someone if they see a green text bubble come through. Okay, I don't know any of this stuff, so I'm looking at my cell phone now. I got my cell phone open. I see a green text bubble. What does that mean?
The other person has an Android device.
Okay, and then here I am texting with Cubby, and I see blue colors.
That's because I have an iPhone.
Huh.
Yeah, they're in the iPhone, their contacts, like say when you click like start a new message and you start to write, if I start to write Wapple, his contact name comes up green because of that. And if I, go to text Josh, it shows up blue. So you know before you even text them.
This can't be the real world, can it? This is the real world?
Isn't it weird?
People actually have problems and issues and
Yeah, I could. It's it's what works for you is kind of how I look at it. And
We should all just get the Google phone. That thing looks sweet.
All right, so how about this now? And who knows? People might be exaggerating just because they're dorks. But there's some conversation here in this report about some folks would refuse to date an Android user.
Oh, that's
Taking things a little far.
Yeah, can you imagine?
That's extra.
I mean, are people going to start putting that on their profiles now? Which phone they use? What's their operating system?
People have admitted that they've been teased or made fun of by an iPhone user.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, I get it constantly.
All the time.
Is it true iPhones are made by pandas in China? That's what Elgato Jesus said.
By pandas?
I'll go along with it. That
All
sounds
right.
I'd like to see that operation. People have been excluded from a group chat because they're using an Android.
Been there.
God, really?
Been there.
That's aggressive.
Yep. All of a sudden, I was in a group chat and they kicked me out, and I'm like, "What the hell?" I texted one of my buddies, and he's like, "Dude, you got an Android."
Oh, that's hilarious. Actually.
I get my balls busted, but I've never been straight up kicked out.
Oh yeah, that hurts.
I'm so happy that this just isn't a part of my world. I mean, it's just one more silly battle to have with people that I'm glad that I'm oblivious to it all.
It is weird how people are so keyed in on what other people do that has no effect on them whatsoever, right? Outside of the green bubbles that upset Ashley. I mean, we don't even know who has what, right? Because it shouldn't matter.
Yeah. And
Go ahead, sir.
no, you can finish your thought.
Social anxiety Jesus. He has a text that said he has seen dating profiles that mention what kind of phone they use.
That doesn't surprise me.
What are we doing?
Wow.
That does actually surprise me a little bit. I mean, this study seems kind of silly.
So I was going to say, I do give Wapple and Dana crap for it, but realistically, I mean, it's just, who cares? When I need a good photo
You're doing it
taken,
just for jokes.
Yeah, when I need a good photo taken, if my brother's with me because he has an Android, I'm like, yeah, dude, get out your Android. You take way better photos.
Here's a listener that says iPhone users are just flesh algorithms. Does anyone know what that means?
No.
I'm sure that's a techie joke. I bet that's a very good joke that I just don't get.
Okay, Android. One more statistic from this ridiculous topic. Android users have thought about getting an iPhone just to stop the peer pressure.
Oh, well, have you guys ever thought, like Dana, you said you got so much crap from a friend. Did you ever think, okay, fine?
No, I'm too far gone at this point.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
you'd
it's
have
not
to
like I
redo everything.
started out to be brand loyal by Android. It was just the first one I got, and I just never felt like changing. But I do need to make a correction. I told Wapple I've never been kicked out of a group chat. My friend Kelly's listening, and she texted that They have a sidebar group chat without me.
It's funny you say that. A couple people said they have been kicked out of a group chat of iPhone users because they're an Android user.
That's hilarious. So come on, that's good.
They have a side text that you never even knew about.
Oh, they're probably ripping on me.
Oh, they are, Dana.
Here's a text machine. How do you say it? A text message that came in on our text machine, 651-989-9393. A listener says, I've heard Some real estate investors prefer Apple users to rent to because they are more likely to pay their rent. This is just so bizarre.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
So bizarre. One more take here, and this is from the author of this report, who is an Android user, whatever that means. He says, "We don't want to date you iPhone idiots anyway. They're overpriced, so you're obviously bad with money. And if you really need your phone to be that user-friendly, you're dumb."
Well, okay, I hear what they're saying there. They are ridiculously, they call it the Apple tax, right?
Yeah.
It's ridiculously overpriced, but I had an iMac that I got for audio editing that lasted me 11 years. And then my last phone, I think I had for 8 years. So, you spread that over time, and, maybe I still paid a little more than an Android phone. I don't know. But
Yeah.
they did last a long time.
My dad had an iPhone 4, like the tiny little ones, for like over a decade. Like, it was insane at this point.
And I can't compare it. I can just say with the computer, I've never had that longevity. But I didn't get into iPhone until like the 6S, I think, like that. And then I had that until I got my most recent one.
Your parents have cell phones, Ashley?
Yes, they do.
That's something to say right there. It really is.
Really?
My mom isn't that great. It's been a huge learning curve. My dad's pretty much mastered it by now.
Yeah, both of my parents have phones, and I mean, they're over 70.
I would, if I were that age, I would use it as an excuse to never, ever get a cell phone.
Waffle.
Right? Don't we kind of miss? I mean, you guys, obviously, you're in a different mindset. You understand all of this language about Androids and iPhones, and you said people who edit their own videos, all this stuff that I couldn't even begin to understand. But don't you kind of miss life before all this friggin' madness?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So if I were
if it wasn't for this job or having like family members that might need to get a hold of me, with kids, I would love to not have a cell phone.
If I were a retired person, 70 years old, I would never, ever even think about getting a cell phone. I would use my age and my retirement or whatever other benefit I had there as an excuse to not get involved. This stuff is just, it's insanity.
Nick pulls out his Nokia phone.
He had one of those forever.
I don't even know what you're talking about. See, that really, what's a Nokia phone?
It's like the first cell phone. It was like kind of like a brick.
It was texting.
It was pretty hard to destroy.
Yep, it was indestructible. But
Yeah.
Wap, I was going to ask, do you ever look at your parents' cell phone and see what font they have all their text in? Because my parents' font is about as big as you can possibly get it.
Yeah,
You should see Nick's. It's hilarious.
Yeah, you can't even see a full text message. It's so big. It's
I
like,
read
what
it
do you
from
do?
space.
I have large font.
Yeah, I feel like
larger than yours.
Oh yeah, I feel voyeuristic because I can see your text messages from my house,
really?
45 minutes away.
What do you
Gamer
think-
Jesus said, so this is how it goes. Apple is the best video audio editing out there of any product in the market. Android is the best customization as well. It is the forerunner of innovation in tech. The Google phones are bar none the best for picture taking and video recording quality.
So I need 3 phones is what you're saying.
I think that's what he's getting at. He works at Circuit City.
tape
That's
them
an
all
outdated
together.
reference.
Here's a listener that says he thinks going back to flip phones would be for the greater good.
The greater good.
Do you guys think that going back to flip phones would benefit the greater good?
Yeah, definitely.
Greater good. Yeah, I think
Do you have
so.
any
because
other ideas as to what might benefit all of us for the greater good?
The
greater good. It would get rid of social media, too.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Not having that smartphone. I didn't have one.
I've been advocating to gas social media since day one.
It was like 2 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember. It was probably like 4 months long. I didn't have enough money to get a new phone, so I was using my family. We have a backup phone. It's the crappiest phone in the world. It's not a smartphone. You can't get on the internet or anything. That was probably the happiest I've been in a really long time.
The internet and social media has destroyed the world.
You have a point there.
It's destroyed the world.
All right, so here's the joke. This person works for an internet provider. I don't know if they want me to say. Oz. They call themselves Oz. Recently understood the flesh algorithm joke. iPhone users are zombies tied to the name more than the device itself, just waiting to drop money on the newest thing because Apple says they need it. Okay, so that's the flesh algorithm. I knew it was probably like a smart guy techie joke.
You guys are all smart and techie, I'll tell you that right now.
Half-assed morning show.
I'll never forget my old dad. The things he'd say to me.
What did he say?
What the hell are you doing in the bathroom day and night? Why don't you get out of there? Give someone else a chance.
On 93X.
Unfortunately, that comment didn't really fit in the context of the conversation. If you remember watching Young Frankenstein. Didn't really fit into the context of the conversation. And Dr. Frankenstein was a little taken aback by the story. We got to get going here very shortly on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show, but we always love having you around, and hopefully you'll come back tomorrow. While we were on this techie theme, what we'll be talking about again? Cellular telephones.
Snobbery.
Some folks love this style of phone. Some like that. It can do this, that. If you have this phone, you're a douche. If you have that phone, you're a dumbass. That's just how we operate these days.
Eastbound at Sundown Jesus, he brought up, Dana, you had said that what you've noticed is iPhone users can't say my phone, they have to say my iPhone.
Yes.
And people text in other things like that, that have that reputation, right? They can't just say they have this, it's this brand of that. Eastbound at Sundown Jesus says, oofda. A phone is just a phone, get over yourself.
There you go.
Sent from my iPhone 16 Pro Max 1 terabyte.
Everybody calm down, he says.
Yeah.
It's just a phone.
Sent from my $2,000 phone.
Well, while we're all techie up in this bitch, we can close out with kind of the same vibe. Hey, when can folks hear your silly video game update over there? The young people who record a video game update and run it on this radio station.
Every single Wednesday.
Every Wednesday?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay. Wait, no, who's up tomorrow, though?
Dana.
I'm up.
Nice.
Dano.
Here's something for you video game folks. Somebody straight up broke Tetris. They just broke it.
No.
I was wondering if you'd be jealous of this person. Or proud, I guess.
Neither. I mean, I guess I'm pride more than anything. Go ahead, break Tetris. I still like to play Tetris.
That's what I was wondering, because you're very good at it, and he's reached the pinnacle.
Oh, God. I mean, this is insane to even consider something like this. It's a 13-year-old kid in Oklahoma became the first person to beat Tetris.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Ash got rebirth. Oh my God!
What did he say? Other than oh my God, obviously. What?
He just hit rebirth.
That's where the game completely flips over and goes back to the first level.
All right. I can't imagine having that level of skill.
Did you ever pay attention to what level you got?
No.
Because you played that around here for years upon years.
I still play it.
Oh, you do? I didn't know. Because you've been moving on to other games.
When Josh reads his news report, I play Tetris. And there's something about the simplicity of fitting shapes together that helps me listen more closely to what Josh is saying. Before I started playing Tetris, and this is no offense to Josh, because there's nobody in town that reads a news report like my cubby. But I would find myself, I would drift. I would drift in and out of paying attention. And I don't know what it says about my mental makeup, but when I started staring at that game, it helped me focus on listening to the show. So every day, I still play Tetris while Josh is reading his news report. But I've never paid attention to what level I've reached. I mean, it's going faster than a sumbitch, if that helps you at all. This 13-year-old kid just straight up cooked the game.
That's incredible.
Now, if you don't know, the game never really ends. It eventually just freezes up. This kid made it to level 157 when the game crashed. And then it somehow fired up again. You guys call it rebirth? Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess there's another kid who killed the game, a 16-year-old. Unbelievable. So he beat the game, it freezes up, it restarts at level 0. And, I mean, this is a long process. Once the kid went back to level 0, he played again.
Just kept going.
Just sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. But, they're going for immortality, video game immortality.
Yeah.
And, again, something that throws me, just the thought of it, that there were hundreds of people watching them do this on the internet.
Oh, so they were making some money, too.
Mm-hmm.
How do they make money?
Watching a live stream. So people can, donate money to the player, and that's how they can get money.
Would you donate money to a guy to watch him play video games?
Oh,
a
God,
lot
no.
of people do, though.
No,
Well, no, I'm not questioning if a lot of people do. I'm asking Wapple if he would.
No.
Thank God,
Nope.
Waffle.
I've donated money to, maybe, I don't know if you call it donate, but I've given money to some YouTubers where I've learned a lot from, certainly.
Oh.
That's so sweet of
So
you.
you learn, you're a techie guy.
It's like audio production stuff, or how do you use different programs. Or
they take donations and you have donated.
I have, yeah. I don't subscribe as far as, you can subscribe to a Patreon or something like that where it's a monthly donation, but certainly, if there's a particular video that was helpful, I'll do that.
I'll keep playing Tetris every day. I will. Like I said, it serves a purpose. There's not a chance in hell I would ever come close to what these kids can do. But then again, I don't have all day to sit around and practice either. Lazy little bastards. But that is something.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive in a way, right? But like you said, I bet if you had nothing going on and you sat around all day, you could probably do that.
I don't know, dude. I'd love to say I could. My hand-eye coordination. I got to work on my hand-eye. That's why I take jujitsu.
Oh,
smart.
Classes.
That's why.
Work on my hand-eye coordination.
We want to send our best to Prescott Tattoo Jesus. He's going through some tough health issues right now, so we're hoping you get well soon, my man. And a shout-out to the real musky fisherman Jesus. Have a great Tuesday.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Hey, Ashley here. Get your home ready for winter. Schedule your furnace tune-up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and save $30. Have a boiler? Save $40 on your boiler tune-up. Visit standardheating.com to book and lock in your savings. Stay cozy, stay ready.